Blog Talk Radio.
He's not me. Yes, I am. I'm much taller. No, you're not. You're fatter, though. No, I'm not. We're the same. We're not the same at all. Yes, we are. No, we're not. Yes, we are.
I'm greater than, lesser than, and equal to the universe. You know, I'm greater than it because I can contain it in my mind, and lesser than it because that's obvious, schmuck. And I'm equal to it because I'm of the same atoms it is. And I always say that what that does for me is connect me to everything and make me a part of it. I earnestly believe that it is all one spirit, all one energy, all one beat, and there are just these different manifestations of it. Because of that, I feel very safe in the universe. I feel very comfortable and very at home because it is only me. And hey, it's only me. Remember that? Hey, it's okay. It's only me. Well, that's what the universe says to me. Nothing of this shit can scare me because hey, it's only me. No fucking problem.
So everything that exists is everything that exists. I am everything that exists. So are you. The more you realize that, the more you open up to the full infinity of who you are.
We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world, there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful. But we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men, machine men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines. You are not cattle. You are men.
That is the problem. That's the crisis. It's not political crisis, economic crisis, or the crisis of war. But the crisis is in ourselves.
The way out of this is the ultimate revolution. It's to be who we are and not what someone else tells us we should be.
Christ, Buddhas, Krishnas, Mohammeds, Wovokas, you are all the same as them. Every single one of them said that to all of you. He did not mean follow him in a religious context. He meant be the way I am.
No, you listen to me.
Because you are.
Listen to me.
That way.
Go to yourselves, because that's the only place you're ever going to find any real truth. But you people sit there day after day, night after night, all ages, colors, creeds. You do whatever the tube tells you. You dress like the tube, you eat like the tube, you raise your children like the tube. This is mass madness, you maniacs. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion.
We have created this society, so we are responsible for that society. But is it possible not to change society, but is it possible to radically, deeply transform our conditioning, our consciousness, which is what we are? Is it possible?
Hey, Freedomizers, Nickie here with you, and we've actually got a guest host today. The Punisher is going to be hosting with me. So, hi, Vaughn.
Oh my God, there goes the neighborhood. Hello, I'm back again.
Awesome.
I have my Reese cups, my Mountain Dew, and I'm ready to rock and roll for 3 hours. So.
Perfect. And it's going to be an exciting show today. We're about to bring him on right now. We've got Damon Watson joining us, and he's been a major researcher of secret societies, Masonic, and then you get back into the Sumerian, comparing different histories. So, Damon, hi. Glad for you to join us.
Hey, how you doing, Nicole? How you doing, Vaughn?
Hey, I'm doing all right. What do you know? Anything good?
Oh, man, it's all good.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, cool. I know you've been doing a lot of reading, especially the last few days, and you found a lot. I think last night on Freedomizers, we had one of the guys from Van, actually not Vaughn, but Van, yeah, from the Georgia Guidestone information. He was on Freedomizer last night. I actually got to speak to him for a little while. He's a physicist, but a devout Christian as well. But we got to talk about some quantum mechanics and quantum science. It's quite interesting. But Damon, what have you found the last few days? I know you've been kind of caught up in reading lately.
Well, same thing. I did catch a piece of that show last night. It was very, very interesting. They were talking about the Rosicrucians and a little bit of numerology, and that was quite interesting. It was a little bit more than I had heard before. I'm quite, pretty well versed on the Georgia Guidestone, so it was and I've been doing a lot of study on Freemasonry, man, and how a lot of this stuff has gone into the Fabian Socialist movement, and that's, kind of caught my attention quite a bit.
Yeah, I love the fact that he brought in not only the secret societies, you get into the Rosicrucians, you bring in the Rothschilds, and then he went straight into, when he kept hinting about vibrations and things. It was that's why I had to talk to him. And he didn't really want to get into it, so I brought a quantum question to him because he is a physicist, so he was allowed to go to the science. He didn't want to talk about the spirituality part. But it all still ties back to, we talk about the secret space program, fake disclosure that we're all expecting. I mean, Von Helton, Troy, it's kind of crazy what they're doing, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is indeed. It is indeed, and I'm curious. Since we're on the subject, I am curious. What, in your opinion, who do you think R.C. Christian is? Do you have a guess on who you think it is, or not?
A lot of the reading I've come across is kind of pointed to where he's just kind of a made-up name, kind of a pen name for, maybe somebody who doesn't even exist, just kind of somebody to put out as a figurehead for the movement itself. Mm-hmm. And that's just kind of what I've seen in all this,
Mm-hmm. Well,
there's really no evidence as to whether this guy even existed. Just these stories that came out of the 3 manifestos that were put out in the 1600s.
Correct. There's a lot of theories out there, and I was just curious that,
I actually have an opinion on it. I saw the RC when they were talking about that's how they brought up the Rosicrucians. They were thinking it's like Christian and then Rosicrucian, whatever. I saw that. The first thing just popped in my head, and, who knows? I've learned to trust that kind of thing. I was just thinking, has there ever been a Christian Rothschild? Seriously, the RC? I'm just curious, or even just saying Rothschild and then adding the Christian to make it seem more acceptable to society. But seriously, that's the first thing that came to my mind.
It wouldn't surprise me. These guys seem to be, their hands in everything.
Well, they tend to believe that they're so much better than us because they're so much enlightened than us. And they have more reptilian DNA in their bloodstream than we do. And so they think they're superior to us, when in fact the exact opposite is true.
Amen, brother. That's right.
It is. It really is. They may know some secrets of things that we don't know, but the truth of the matter is that we've got them all over when it comes to common sense and rationality and clear-headed thinking. We're growing stronger every day. We learn every day, and these guys, they're pulling out the same playbook. Yeah. All they can do is the same old thing. They can't do anything new. They lack creativity, and they lack ingenuity, and they lack love, compassion, and understanding.
Hey, Damon, I don't know if you're paying attention to the chat room, but Twin Flame, she's asking, who's the Rosicrucian? You wanna explain real quick to those that aren't aware?
Well, the Rosicrucians, if you wanted to just quickly go back through this, and I'm sure Vaughn will give you a little insight. This whole thing started coming out of Sumer with the Babylonian Brotherhood of the Snake, and from there it moved on into Babylon, from there into Egypt, into these mystery schools, from there to Greece, from there into Rome and into Western Europe. And when it came into Western Europe, they started the Rosicrucians, which, in most people's opinion, they believe it's this, blend of Christian mysticism along with everything that was taken out of Babylon and Sumer and Greece and Rome. And a lot of people today that don't really understand what this is, they really do believe it's a Christian order. But the fact is, it's really not. It was actually created to put away Christianity. I mean, that's the fundamental purpose of the Rosicrucians.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
They're a society based on basically getting rid of the truth and re-implementing their own.
A new sleight of hand. Looky here, you make it think it's Christian. It's like those play on words. I think like the republic. We are a republic, not a democracy, and yet we confuse those words with democratic and republican. So it's a confusion.
Right.
Well,
it's a play on words, and that's what they're good at. That's once you learn that, though, you understand how to sift through it.
Well, in all fairness, when I first heard the term RC Christian, I thought they were talking about Royal Crown Cola, which 70s, and I was having a bad hair day that day, and that's how it goes. But no, in all seriousness, these particular sects, they're trying to become enlightened, and in the process, they become even darker, and that's a shame, really, but it's the truth.
Right. I'm not putting all this to say as Christianity. It's my opinion. Whatever. I'm not gonna sit here and get into that. But they're not specifically one religion at all. They've taken all this information and knowledge and blended it into their own New Age guru religion. And it's like Vaughn was saying, it's very dark. It's not about salvation at all. It's about enslavement.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's about enslavement and bondage. If the blind lead the blind, both will fall into the ditch. That's what it says. That's about the truth.
So that's where we are with that. And a lot of the people that the Rosicrucians themselves, a lot of the people that we read as these great minds from the 1600s and things, Bacon, Flood, and all these people, they ended up becoming what was the Reformation, the Christian Reformation, where they turned the Catholics, and, again, I'm not going to get into the Catholics are good or bad or anything like that, but the fact is that it's caused the split in Christianity. It's where now, you don't really know who's good or bad anymore. It just seems like it is what it is, and that's what it's done, and that's part of their plan all along, was just split the truth. Now you got these Bibles all over the place that, they've got us out here warring in factions over, and the fact is that once you see this, kind of can put all of them together and see there's a little truth in all of them, from the Catholic Bible to the King James, but the point is that the Rosicrucians ended up becoming the Puritan movement, and when they came over to America, this was their ultimate plan right here. Bacon was one of the founder of the Rosicrucians to an extent, as well as one of the authors of the King James Version Bible. And, this guy wrote a book called The New Atlantis, which, if anybody understands, I'm sure, Vaughn, this is all utopian occult, nonsense. They're going to restore man back to nature. Well, since we were created, we were not necessarily animals, and that's what they're kind of getting at, is we're just dumb animals that need to be turned back to animals and put back in savagery.
Well, the thing of it is that human beings as they are now really are not equipped for nature. We have no claws, we have no sharp teeth.
Right.
We're not really equipped to be totally back to nature again due to changes in our makeup. So, their idea is skewed from the very beginning. But any time you're dealing with someone who has a utopia complex, we can create the perfect utopia here on Earth. Run from those people. Run just as fast as
yes, amen, brother.
I as a pagan can tell you that anything of that nature is going to just be a ruin of you. It's going to, first of all, it's going to lie to you, and second of all, it's going to ruin you. And this idea, and see, that's what the elite have. They have this. We can create the perfect society. We can create a utopia on Earth, and it's just ridiculous on its face. There is no way to establish something like that and consider the human factor. This is why Karl Marx and Joseph Engels failed miserably. They totally neglected to encounter the human factor. When you have greed and empathy and jealousy and stuff such as that, you just can't have a utopian society, at least not in the scheme that they're referring to.
Right. When you get into the actual plans of how they, are going to put this utopia into place, like you said, you really need to stop and look the other way and run, because it's definitely not for us. This is not a plan for every one of us. They got plans of, 3/4 the population being wiped out to restore us back to this idea. And that's where you find the Georgia Guidestones. That's the main message on the Georgia Guidestones that the Rosicrucians and the Freemasons put up. Is, 3/4 the population has to go so the rest can be happy. Well, who's going to decide who these people are that are going to go?
Exactly. They're attempting to play God. I think they're going to fail on that.
Yeah, they're trying to take our own power away from us. Seriously, they don't want you to know that we have these abilities. And I know, David, you're really good at comparing the different texts, especially when it comes to the individual. And I don't like using religion.
Right.
More like a history, or even if it's just stories. There's always a core truth when it comes to mythologies, everything. There's always a base of truth no matter what. And I think we have to use our own sense of judgment, and that's what everybody should do. Do your own research, go look for yourself, and take from it what works for you. And if one part does, and that's cool if it works for your life, but and accept the fact that it can change, that you can grow and it can change as well, this idea. Because we keep trapping ourselves under these labels, under this whole idea that we have to adhere to a law. And if you look at science itself, science has changed how many times since from our current history, I'll put it that way. And for the definition of history is written past, the written past. And I know that's something that most people don't think of very often, but that's an important thing to know, from the time past was written or from when we have records. So there is a past for history. That's the other thing, a confusion of words,
Right. Well, that all came out of the fall of Babylon. I mean, and this is, again, I'm not going to sit here and tell anybody that Christianity is right or wrong. That's for everybody to decide on their own. And you got to remember, Christianity wasn't exactly born with this on the first day we walked on this earth. I mean, it's something that evolved later on out of Judaism and so on. So, you can take that for what it's worth. Again, as Vaughn said, he's a pagan and I'm a Christian, and that's fine. We seem to see perfectly eye to eye on these things, and that's kind of what we need to get back to understand what has happened to us as a human race. And
how many Christians are actually Christ-like? I just got to say.
Exactly. Well, that's, there you go again, because that's the whole idea of the Christian religion itself has been split into so many different warring factions. No one's willing to sit down and talk about the honest-to-God truth. The Bible itself is people seem to forget that the actual Bible is a compiled book from many, many different books of different eras and many from ancient summer. I mean, that's just the facts. And I'll probably get a lot of grief from Christians that hear this, but, what do you need
and
a brick to get, smacked upside
Sumer, for those listening, just real quick, Damon, you might want to say Sumer, because I think people, when they hear summer, they see those two M's in the middle.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah. Sumer?
Might want to call it Sumer. That way, don't get it confused with summer as in the.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, but speaking of Sumer, what do you think about all this hubbub in the mainstream media about an extrasolar object, an ESO?
Oh, bud, there's so much. You just talk, you listen to the news or whatever, and you go on YouTube and you can see a lot of these posts people are putting up. Some are calling it Nibiru, some are calling it I was checking out one of your videos and you were talking about, you've heard it's a water-bearing planet. Others are claiming, it's just an asteroid. Others are claiming it's a massive UFO. I mean, I've heard it all. I've heard it's a giant cube. I mean, it's, you know, you really don't know what to think about it, and that's kind of the
Borg
point.
The Borg are coming. Everybody run. The Borg are coming. No.
Hey, maybe the Borg are.
You don't really know what to think about it.
Yeah, well, the thing of it is, and this is something that I tried to get across to people, because a lot of people are out there thinking this is, you know, what they're talking about in that particular article is Nibiru or something like Nibiru, but they clearly state in the article that no, they're talking about an object that is well outside the Oort cloud, and that is throwing asteroids, comets, and meteorites in our general direction. Now, does that mean that there might be an object within our solar system? And the answer, I believe, is yes. And I believe that we have found scientific data. In fact, I got an email, not an email, I got a PM through YouTube from something of that nature just the other day where, in fact, let me see if I can get it here. Okay, I'll read it verbatim. It says, "Hi, Vaughn. I hope this will put a smile on your face. Skeptic physicist and author Stan Deyo now says that there is definitely something going on. He admits that there is a Planet X. He said that the new math that he has worked out proves it. He went on to say that all the data is now on his website for all to see, and that Venus and Mars are also affected, and that the planets are indeed growing in size, which is another thing that I support. I support the expanding theory. And he then talked about pole shift and all the planets. Even George Norrie was surprised by some of the comments this guy. Now, this guy, Stan Deyo, see, he was a hardcore skeptic when it comes to stuff like this. He believed in a few other things that we kind of talk about. But when it comes to stuff like this, he was a total and complete skeptic, and now he is totally on board with everything, and that just totally blew my mind. So people are waking up finally to this situation. They're coming around, and just in the nick of time too. It would seem, because I don't think
you mentioned that because he actually sent me a message yesterday, and it was actually from the National Geophysical Data Center. And what it said was that the pole shift has actually shifted more than, doubled each of the last 50 years. And it showed this graph on there where, you know, and it makes sense because, as you will probably know, Vaughn, you know, our universe spins as well as our planet, everything else. You know, we're going back through a period in time that we haven't been in many, many, many thousands of years. You know, so this is, you know, it's an exciting time to be alive, to say the least.
It is indeed an exciting time to be alive, and the fact that, you know, we now have big name skeptics that are finally waking up and are actually coming on board and have actually sat down and did the math on this sort of thing, because, you know, you have wobbles in the particular planets and in the orbits of these planets, and you know, when you actually sit down and do the math, it's like, oh my God, you know, that crazy old idiot on YouTube was right. There really is a planet out there somewhere.
Yeah, and that's what everybody's trying to say. Go out and do it yourself. You know, look for yourself. Actually look, test it, make sure it's true. Don't ever take anything at face value. Okay, well, the caller just went away. If James, if you're still listening, I'm just saying, because I know who the caller was. It was our monk friend, James Gazay. Hey, if I saw you there, I was trying to get a chance to bring you in. So if you call back, we'll bring you right in, not a problem. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, call back in, James. We'll talk to you.
Cool. So, moving on.
You know, and one thing is, like, you know, I'm not a radio personality. I don't think Vaughn is either. You know, I'm not up here trying to get any notoriety for myself. You know, this is just a great way to get a message out there that people really should start looking at other things rather than watching TV and, you know, and getting into this whole bread and circus routine that we've been into so many times throughout history.
Yeah, okay, there's a couple comments that have been in there that I want to go ahead and share from the chat room real quick. I know that Oscar Paulson wants to know about any stargates found around, and Cobble65 says about the 7 planets aligning on the 15th of Mars, and just alone, like the magnetic effect that would have to have just on everything in general. Because what we're talking about is seriously like balls that have metal in the center of them, you know, and so liquid metal. So yeah, they're going to affect by things such as this when lined up, like all magnets. Yeah, they tend to interact. So yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I'll let Vaughn take this because, you know, he seems to be very well versed in these things, and, you know, I'm still kind of new on this whole, you know, study of the universe stuff. So, Lon seems to have it right up his alley.
Yeah, well, only because it's kind of staring me in the face, so to speak. But
Right.
yeah. See, the planets have a molten metal core within them, usually comprised of iron and zinc and other metals of that caliber. And to say that these planets could not rotate on that molten core, well, of course they could. Of course they could. And see, this molten metal core, is how it generates the magnetic field that protects us from the sun also. And all the active planets seem to have this core, except, of course, for the moon, which is a dead planetoid. But Mars and Venus and Mercury and all the rest seem to have this core. I'm not sure about the gas giants, because the gas giants are a different category of planet. You can't land a ship on Jupiter. It's gas.
Or at least we can't make it far enough in the atmosphere with our current technologies to see if there's anything solid. I don't like using those words, gas giants, because everything I've read so far, this is, again, opinions, like everybody should keep reading. The further you go back, the Sumerian stuff, it seems like actually, and the more like Voyager satellite keeps getting further out and whatever, it seems like every planet or even planetary objects, satellites of the sun and satellite of individual planets, whatever, they all seem to have water. It's something that is very common, and we seem to think, we need to find water everywhere. That's how we find life. And yet, every single place we've looked has water.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah. Even the moon had water. And the interesting thing is that the Japanese found out that the moon had water long before we launched our nuke into the moon. So the question becomes, why did we nuke the moon? We didn't nuke it to find water. The Japanese had already found water about a month before then. So why did we nuke the moon? It makes you wonder. Could it be that we nuked the moon in order to see if it was hollow, like a bell?
We did that back in the 70s. It already did.
I've heard that too, and David Icke has touched on that a lot about, a lot of the old the Duran tribe in Africa, and it's a lot of their old stories is that that was pulled into position, and it was never actually there to begin with, and it could be it was manufactured actually.
Yeah, well, see, all the old pagan writings and even early Christian writings, believe it or not, kind of alluded to the idea that the moon was actually its own planet. They didn't call it the moon back then. They called it Luna, and they considered it a planetoid, its own unique little creature. So it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder where.
You wonder if it's the Death Star.
There are a lot of stories like that. I've actually got several images just saying on the computer that show almost like marking on the surface. It kind of looks like scripts, almost like the old Sanskrit or Akkadian, Seriously, almost like roads, which in itself is kind of interesting, but there are a lot of stories. This planet itself, Earth in general, and this is, again, my opinion, do your own research, just saying, is made for production of life. It doesn't happen like anywhere else like it does here. This is very, very special. And for that to be possible, you need something like the moon and the tides. They are very, very important, this ebb and flow, this energy that we all are as well, and that's how life responds. So you have to have this up and down, the tides, the moon. It is very necessary. Now, when you have a planet like this, you don't think that moon might have been with Mars when it had a better atmosphere? It's just an idea. I'm just saying. When a planet is
and that's what David kind of gets around to in his newer book is that it was put into place in order to create life on this planet, or what we know today is life, or the energy field that we all kind of feed off of.
Or it's a parasite feeding off of us.
Exactly. Yeah, it can go either way, right?
That's right.
And the old stories, according to some of the old texts that they found, or the tablets, whatever, according to the old Sumerian stories, the name of the moon is Kingu, Kin.gu, and it came from Tiamat being the other planet, the water planet. And that planet was meant to be the planet birther. It literally would create planets and send them out, sort of, hence the moon and others. And when the planet was literally hit by the incoming second star, during one of its passovers billions of years ago, of course, it literally slammed into one of the planets coming along with the star, slammed into another planet and literally cleaved it in half. leaving the asteroid belt, or what they call, even in the Old Testament, the hammered out bracelet. That's what it is referred to. And again, we always think things on linear terms. Think more like a sphere. It's not everything exists on the same plane. So when we're talking an asteroid belt, this is why it's so difficult to get into the inner planets now, is because those little asteroids are in a complete sphere around it. And it's kind of hard to, I know it's kind of hard to see because we're always seeing like drawings of the sun and the universe, you know, as opposed to seeing it literally as like a ball. So you have like this whole ball of asteroids, and that's written in the old texts as well, which is why it's so hard to get here and why we're a little bit safer, I'm sure, than a lot of places. But the other half that was split off is from the is the asteroid belt itself. That's the other half of the planet. The other half ended up falling into a new orbit and became Earth, and it brought with it one of its satellites that was with Tiamat, and that satellite was Kingu, of course. And it's here now, and that's why it's so much larger than any other moon, and why it's so confusing, why it doesn't belong here, is because we used to be a lot bigger.
Yeah. All the texts, talk about the giants and all that, so it's definitely something that people really should look into.
Yeah, we assume that means that since this Earth has been here, what if all that with the giants and stuff happened back then, the dinosaurs? I'm serious, because their bones and stuff would still be here. This is just conjecture right now. Seriously, but their bones and stuff would still be here no matter what. So we could still be digging them up and them not necessarily be from when it's been in this orbit, hence why we've gotten smaller, because the planet got smaller.
Right.
That's just an idea. That's just, a quick little theory that popped in mind, so I had to share. Sorry.
Somebody in the text wanted me to address George Cavasilius, I guess is how you say his name. I don't know the man. In fact, I haven't read any of his stuff, so I really don't have an opinion. But I tend to not speak ill of other people that are doing research, but that's just me. I will not speak ill. I mean, they would have to do, in order for me to speak ill of someone else who's doing research, they would have to be so egregious that, there would be no question of it. But, I Googled the name, and he's apparently seeking truth, and he's looking at different aspects of what's going on out there. And so I have no comment on the man. I don't know the man. I haven't listened to any of his stuff. And I'm not going to say anything about him until I know for sure. So,
hey, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We're at a half hour.
We need everybody out here looking at it. I don't know anything about the guy either, but, I agree totally. Why put somebody else down for what they're looking at when we need everybody's opinion?
Right.
Yeah, that's just it. Don't get mad at people. Communicate.
Exactly.
It's very beneficial. But hey, guys, we got to take a quick break. It's going to be a fast one because this, like I said, I knew this was going to be a good show altogether. It's nice. It's kind of, I guess, like a little roundtable discussion. So everybody listening, hey, if y'all want to call and join us, have a question, whatever, you can call 347-324-3704. And for all the guests that are in the chat room, if you just it literally takes 30 seconds. You just got to give your email, and hey, then and pick out a quick name. Give whatever. Type in just, punch the keyboard. It'll work. It's all good. And then come down, and you can actually communicate with us too, so we can go through all that. I got to pay some bills for the station, and of course we'll be right back. So let me find those real quick. And Freedomizers, Nickie Nix here with you with Rise Above Dehumanization. We've got the Punisher and Damon Watson when we come back. Hang in there.
Hi folks, CT here. I want to talk to you about a great preparedness resource, tomorrowsharvest.com. Whether it's an economic collapse or nature's fury, there's no feeling more secure than knowing that your loved ones will be well fed. If it's time to bug out or just camping with the family, Tomorrow's Harvest offers high-quality, cost-effective, and long-term smart food storage. Get your free sample. The choices are great. From blueberry pancakes to cowboy chili, no one else has the meal variety of Tomorrow's Harvest. They also provide other survival necessities. Check out the various packages and customize your meal supply. Remember, there's no reason for fear today when you prepared with Tomorrow's Harvest. Go to www.tomorrowsharvest.com and tell them you are Freedomized.
Federal Reserve, you've been living hell to me. You've been robbing me since 1913. You'll run the presses till the ink is dry. Long ago, I stopped asking why. Federal Reserve, I hate every inch of you. You robbed me and you cheated me through and through. Now I'm a poorer and more destitute man. Mr. Congressman, why can't you understand? Federal Reserve, what good do you think you do? Do you think we'll all be richer when you're through? Your dollars are no longer backed by gold, and your stone walls turn my blood a little cold. Federal Reserve, may you rot and burn in hell. May your walls fall and may I live to tell. May all the world reject your fake cash. You stole our wealth, but we can take it back. You stole our wealth, but we can take it back. You stole our wealth, but we can take it back.
All right, Freedomizers, Nickie Mix back here with you. And just one quick note, if you want to check out any of the other hosts here at Freedomizer, be sure to go to www.freedomizerradio.com. And yes, that is 2 R's, one for the end of Freedomizer and one for the beginning of radio. And, well, hey, everybody's still with me. Vaughn and Damon, Dollar's still here. So I still love that song. I have to play that. Once I found it, I can't.
It's a great song.
Yeah, it's a good song, yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Good old Johnny Cash, you know, hey.
Yeah.
Well, where were we anyways? Because
I have no idea. I've totally lost track of it.
Well, we were talking about
That's the beauty of live radio, folks. Just, just hang in there. But yeah, I totally lost.
We were talking about Kingu and all that. And
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We were back on the Sumerian, the fake moon, whether it's hollow, the ringing of the moon.
Yeah, the ringing.
Because, why else haven't we gone back? Don't you think they went there that first time and maybe somebody told them, you come back and see what happens? Yeah, so instead we bomb it? Yeah.
Yeah, let's make them even more mad at us than they already are, let's do that. That makes sense. According to Armstrong, they got there and they found these big craft and these big towers on the moon. And, Armstrong is like, they're saying they don't want us around there no more. And, at least that's how the story goes. And so we haven't been back since. And so what we done was when we come back, we shot it all in a studio. And played it off that way. So, I believe it's actually both. I tend to agree with Armstrong is that we did go to the moon, but
they didn't show us it all, but it's one of those half-truths.
Right. We went there, but somebody had already beat us to it. So, so we come back and shot it all in a studio and because
that's the one thing. Okay, the stars, this is what most people don't realize. It's like, it's in space. That's why you can't see the stars. That's BS, okay? Yeah. We see very few stars because of our atmosphere. It stops a lot of sights, a lot of light rays, okay? Literally, they bounce off. So when you get out of space, those stars multiply like crazy and are so much brighter. So for there to be a black screen behind it gives it away automatically.
Absolutely. The atmosphere of the moon is extremely thin. And that's one thing I do agree with NASA on, is that the atmosphere of the moon is extremely thin.
But it is there.
And there should be no problem seeing stars from the moon's surface at all. It's a lot easier to see than from our surface here on Earth. And so the black background, you're right, it does kind of give it away for sure. And I unfortunately deleted my latest message from my government contact. So that was real intelligent of me, wasn't it? Oh, man.
It's too much chocolate, Juan.
Yeah, that's it, man. I got to cut out the Reese's peanut butter cups, don't I? So.
And what? No more
Mountain Dew or Reese's.
Mountain Dew, thank you. I can't remember that. I was like, all the skaters always drink Mountain Dew. Thank you, Mountain Dew.
The drink of the researcher.
Uh-huh.
This kept me through a few nights.
I think I stay awake all these hours of the day and night, man. It's Mountain Dew. I'm hopped up on Mountain Dew 24/7.
That's the problem. Once you start reading something, I know this is not for everybody, but once you start reading something and it becomes interesting, time literally disappears.
It does. Yeah.
And you'll get lost, and all of a sudden, hey, the sun starts popping through the window. Oops, got to work.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, it's daylight. What happened?
So I was telling Nicole this morning, it doesn't seem like any of us really get a lot of sleep anymore.
No, I think something 4 times the size of Jupiter heading straight for us. Yeah, that tends to keep me awake at night. Yeah. And just throwing that.
People plotting behind our backs.
Exactly. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. I wonder if we'll ever be able to have like a Nuremberg type trial with 9 judges and just have these families paraded in front of them 9 judges to give an account for their actions over the centuries. I have to wonder if we can ever get that done.
And that's what I've always tried to get across to people is, we always persecute these tyrants, but we never go after the people that actually put them up in power.
Exactly.
You got Bernard Shaw.
What's up with this? Why do we accept it? Why can't we just, seriously,
they're good at what they do.
I still love the Simpsons episode where Homer, decides, when they have that ionic storm, kind of funny, right? Electrical storm in the atmosphere, and it brings all the billboards to life, And how do they make them go away? The capitalism, how do they make them go away? They ignored them. They turned their back. They said, okay, you have no power over me. I just won't listen to you anymore. Why can't we do that? Why are we so obsessed with these rules written on paper by somebody that we don't know? Just saying.
Well, there's just not enough of us awake yet. Us three and plus.
The problem is people are afraid. Those that are awake are overwhelmed with what they see, and they don't think that they can have any effect. So they choose not. It's not that there aren't enough people awake, because it only takes a small percentage to actually make a difference. And we definitely have those numbers. It's that people are afraid.
Yeah. Well, there's still plenty of them out there to rule over, and that's the problem. It's they'll just subjugate us to the side, and there'll still be the sheep out there that will be willing to line up and get marked for them.
Mhm. Well, they'll be told. See, that's the thing. That's the rub. They'll be told that it's a good thing. It's a good thing to go to the FEMA camps. They'll actually be told that. They'll be saying, yeah, man, if you want to escape all this crap that's going on out there, just come with us. We'll give you food. We'll give you water. We'll give you medicine. We'll take care of you. All you got to do,
barbed wire fence.
Yeah, all you got to do is just hop on board this unmarked train car here, and we'll take you where it's safe.
Yeah, and people really believe what the FEMA camps are going to be like. It's like, okay, cool, they'll take care of you, give you medical, have a place for the kids to, and it's all on gates. You can't leave. What's happened the last time it's happened? I mean, come on. The last time with the Japanese, they were still citizens. They weren't Japanese. They were still American. What is this idea? Now we're looking for Muslim Americans. Come on. Why? They're still people. They are no more American than the Canadians. Come on. No, what bothers me about that, I think we were talking about this the other day, was how are Americans American? Canadians are too, so are South Americans. What about that, And, we're talking continents here. How is that a people, a continent? I mean, it's... labels. They're meant to confuse and keep us separated. They want you to think that you're different from the person across the sea, but we're all people, and that's how we can make a difference. We're not going to go out and all attack each other. Sorry. No, what you see when you see these riots is news paying someone to go make it look more interesting. So they're the ones stealing the TVs, not the people running or protesting. The people protesting, or if there is a major event, they're going to be going for water and food, I promise you, not a TV.
Yeah.
That's made to confuse you.
I'm just
looking back at.
Go ahead. I was just. Okay, you go first. I'll go next.
Well, I just wanted to comment on, the FEMA camps. I mean, when you look at New Orleans and the Superdome, you want to get an idea of what it's going to be like. Does anybody remember all the pictures of the dead bodies just laying inside the dome itself? I mean, the people that weren't getting help and people were having to just walk by these people. And it's, and that's what it's... That's,
oh, yeah, they were taking helicopters to drop off troops, but they couldn't take anybody out.
Yeah. I mean, and that's going to be... That's not even as bad as what it's going to be.
Mm. Yeah,
that's to dehumanize you. That's simply to make you used to it. So next time you see it, you don't react.
Yeah, you don't react.
Right.
You get used to it. That's like when they started having military drills here on American soil, and heretofore they had never done that. Because
they've only done it in scenarios of foreign places.
Right, and they're doing it. They're doing it here now in America to get you accustomed to seeing the military on our streets.
Urban warfare.
Yep.
Now, see, that actually backfired on them because when Posse Comitatus, I don't know why I always flip those letters, but yeah, Posse Comitatus, and that was taken away. And nobody seemed to realize that it was gone. Well, Jesse Ventura made a big stink about it, but they keep trying to, he's just wrestler, he's a dumb jock, nobody pay attention to him. Yeah, more people should listen to what that man says. I just gotta say, he was a true public servant, for one. He didn't run for second office because he did his time, as a public servant should. And when he couldn't make enough money in office to pay for the bills that they were charging him and his family for living there, but they wouldn't let him leave, so he got another job, so that he didn't have to accept lobbyist money. So he got a second job, actually a third job, I think at one point. He was even working in the field and still being governor. Now, the powers that be, they don't want anybody in the public to see something like that. They tried to make him stop. Well, he's like, no, I can't, because I can't afford all this. So he didn't, and he still never accepted a single bit of money from the lobbyists at all, and he did what a public servant should do, serve their time and move on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was a great governor. I mean...
Yeah, he was. He wasn't bad at all.
And he spends half the time...
If you're not controlled opposition, then they don't want you talking.
Right.
Yeah, see, now they're politicians. They're no longer public servants. They're politicians. Mm-hmm. And politicians do nothing but play magic, sleight of hand. And when I say magic, I don't mean alchemy or actually having effects on things. When I say magic, that's all sleight of hand. That's all BS, to confuse you that there's truly power in some of these things. When we find out that we're all connected and that we have the abilities and we are not dumbed down or lost in entertainment and our minds actually think and we move out of that system, then the powers that we have will overwhelm them. That's why they keep us pushed down. That's why these societies, the whole conversation to begin with, these secret societies have done is so that we don't use our abilities. What happens if we all wake up? Then they have no power and no control.
Uh-huh.
And that's the thing that always got me about, I was a protester and I'd go to anti-war rallies down in Washington, D.C., and, made it with World Can't Wait, SDS, and a bunch of other groups, and the one I went to, the biggest one, there was so many people, and we were marching on the Pentagon, and I didn't understand why we couldn't just all keep marching. I mean, there wasn't enough police there to stop us, even if they pulled guns out. I didn't understand how this could keep happening over and over and over again.
Well, that's because... Go ahead, Vaughn.
I was just going to say, it's all by design, man. It's all by design.
Right,
Every last little bit of it's all by design, and it always has been by design, and that's why it's absolutely imperative. And it's not just the United States, I mean, a lot of people want to jump down the United States, but it's not just the United States. I mean, these globalists have infiltrated every country on this earth, and the thing is, we need to vote these globalists out of office and put in normal, everyday, hard-working people that serve their country, and that's the thing. That's the ticket right there, is to get all the globalists out, put ordinary, hardworking people in, and if then they say, well, you can't stop it from happening. Maybe not, but we can slow it down. I mean,
Or we could realize that we don't need to be controlled, and we don't need a government just to be. The thing is that we fear outside forces outside of our nation. That's the whole purpose of the Constitution and of that. What if enough people are waking up now, what we see in Egypt, I still love it. Every time I literally get chills. I love what's happening there, and I hope it keeps going and it is spreading, and it just gives me such great, energy, everything. Go Egypt, I just gotta say. And the military are doing what the military needs to do. They're upholding what the people asked, as opposed to, the U.S. media showing you how Americans think about it, or what else do they show you? They show, the military went in and dissolved the parliament and suspended the Constitution. Now, what they don't tell you is that that's exactly what the people asked for, and they said the people have the right to do that. They have not taken control. What they did is say that the people have the right, they are the people, and the military stood up for that. Now, that's what we're seeing now, too, because the military is starting to doubt and go against the orders that are coming in. We see all these suicides and all these things. And why? Because they're being asked to do things to desensitize them so they can do it here. But instead, they're killing themselves and saying, no, we can't do this. And it's a big problem. Now, all of a sudden, they're stepping back and realize it's not working. Why?
Well, see, I have a kind of different outlook on what's going on in the Middle East. All these things kind of seem a little bit too peculiar to me, especially with my background in the research of these secret societies. I mean, let's not forget what Albert Pike had said, who planned all these things out. And the way I feel about it is, no matter how I like to see all these people rise up, if we're really talking about people in control that are so powerful, what I feel like we're witnessing is he pointed out, the Third World War is coming. I mean, this is how it's set up in order to bring in what we would call the Antichrist or Al-Dajjal or whatever else. It's the order out of chaos. And right now I feel like we're seeing the chaos. And it's not so much I don't believe in my heart that these people actually, being able to do this. It's not, Albert Pike, like I said, this guy was a genius, a really scary genius. You know what I mean?
Okay, come on. All you do is read the learned elders of God. What is that? The learned elders of Zion. Yeah.
Right, Protocols of the Elders of Zion, which is it's been proven to be propaganda over and over and over again, but somehow this thing keeps resurfacing. I don't know why.
I mean, it was even rewritten to become the Illuminati manifestos. I mean, it was
all used as another control, a confusion. Hey, look, these rules have been around forever. Who cares about these? Sorry, I almost did it. These freaking rules. I'm just saying. Why? If somebody wrote them down, ooh, wow, they can write. Oh, such talent. Okay, like police and military, we're so scared of them. Why? Because they can shoot a gun? What, you can't? I'm just saying, they're not different than you. The thing is their mind works different. They are truly twisted, hence why their bodies reflect the same thing, and hence why this channeling and everything else works, because they are open to it, because they are in a state of fear, and, well, they're bad, evil inside. And that's what they get from everybody else. They keep expecting us to get up and hurt each other, because that's what we're taught through news, and that's what they've been trying to do, is desensitize us to think that that's how we are. But we have not responded. And these little buttons they keep trying to push, we don't do it. And that's why they're trying to create chaos, and we keep not doing what they want. We don't. Instead, we're doing something else. Look at the G20. Look what that did. Look what Al Gore's tried to do. And look at everybody else now waking up just because they were trying to push the button.
It was really interesting when Sean Hannity and that guy that used to be Clinton's aide, whose name escapes me right at the moment, but they're sitting there talking on the Hannity show, and he's telling Sean Hannity, he says, "Hey, this G20 thing, this is what all those one world government people was warning us about. Here it is, right in our face. The G20 is the one world government." And I'm sitting there watching Fox News, going, "Oh my God, they just admitted one world government." It just blew my mind, I'm like, wow, a little bit of truth is actually leaked out to the people. Wow, imagine that. But and he was right. That's what the G20's purpose was to establish a one world government. There is no question. And the sad part about it is that CNN. They're not CNN, but UN. The UN came out and said, "Oh yeah, when we establish this one world government, we want to set it up on the communist Chinese plan." And I'm like, "What? You want to what?"
Yeah. That's what we're seeing today.
Yeah, that's worse than what we got now. I don't want to go worse than what we got now. I want to actually have something better than what we got now. But yeah, it's just these people are crazy, man. We got to get them out of. We got to vote them all out of office. Every last one of them. Vote them all out, man. They're crazy.
Absolutely.
They're absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and then you got Time Life magazine coming out with the new emperor, you know, and it's all about the new Chinese emperor that's supposed to be coming out. I mean, people put Hitler on the front cover. I mean, you know, it's a little out of hand. You know, like Ron said, it's about time people start waking up.
Hey, Vaughn, I did see a while back in the chat room since I heard a little break, because, yeah, the conversation has been interesting. It's been really hard to put in any second comments, and I do apologize to anybody wanting, you know, who may not be able to call in for whatever reason. So, but I think it was Joe 2011. He was asking about your old videos that have been taken down. Is there any way to get access to them? Because he says he can't find some of your videos. You know how YouTube is.
Yeah, well, no, what it was, I was coming out hot and heavy in regards to the ETs known as the reptilians, and apparently I touched a nerve somewhere, and so the IUFOC came after me and said, oh, you're using our copyrighted material, we're going to come after you. You shouldn't talk about those evil reptilians like that, and so we're going to hit you with the DMC, and so, yeah, I almost lost my channel because of talking about the reptilians, and so I ended up having to delete close to 800 of my old videos as a result.
Wow.
So,
oh, God forbid you ever put out anything and I'll be allowed to state an opinion without being controlled. Now, we've heard about the flip switch. Now, most people aren't aware. They took out, 80,000 or was it 800,000 sites? They were claiming copyright issues. Now, this is what's funny, but they weren't required to prove anything. They haven't had to show any proof, whatever. If you were at that moment a major issue, trust me, you got taken down. Well, at least not in the major limelight. They wanted the little people because they don't want like Alex Jones or anybody for that to happen to you, because wow, what would happen then? They don't want to do that. They took out some people that were actually making an effect on a smaller regard, and then they gave them no reason. Yeah, 80,000.
Well, I find it funny too. You can copy a song basically and put it, you know. And you know, the worst thing they're going to do to you if you copy somebody else's copyrighted song is they're going to put a little advertisement over your video. But yet you can't talk about something everybody else claims to be a myth.
Well, that's the thing, and that was my big thing with it, is that, you know, which is more important to these. I mean, now these guys are supposed to be on our side. The IUFOC is supposed to be people like us, you know, people that are trying to get the truth about the ET situation and that, getting it out to the public. And so I did another video subsequently after that, and I said, hey, look, you know, which to you is more important, your precious little copyright or getting out the message? If your copyright is more important than getting out the message, then as far as I'm concerned, you're a farce. You're a joke. You're not telling the truth here, you know.
It's another example of that controlled opposition.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you're no better. You're no better than what we're fighting against. If you know, if your copyright is more important, you know.
Well, that and the fact there's a lot of things that get into that. I mean, how do you, this whole idea of separation and okay, Alex has done a lot of things. Don't get me wrong. He brings forward a lot of things that most people don't want to face, but when faced with nothing but facts, it's kind of hard to ignore. But what he does now, seriously, he's working at separating, well, whatever is called this truth movement, and I hate putting labels on that, because all this is people standing up and wanting to be people. So come on, why do we have to be called something? But what's happening now is this major fracturing. Let's divide. Isn't that exactly what the New World Order and all the elite have been doing, and now it's being done from both sides? Doesn't that make you think a little bit about, I don't know, I've seen some videos that really kind of worry me about stuff. I love David Icke. I love what he has to say. Yeah. I saw videos that showed him with, Project Camelot, with both Carrie before they split, you know, and they were all throwing, serious Masonic signs. And I never looked the first time I saw their interview, because it never even occurred to me to look. But then I go back and I'm like, dude, what the hell, you know? It really threw me for, I don't know, it's like feeling a mule kick you in the chest. It's like, what the hell, you know? But I'm not saying that Alex Jones is bad, because he's really not. But then again, there's this whole idea that everybody in the secret societies are bad. But we have to understand what they were first formed for, was the protection of, especially if you get into what the Knights of Templar, because they were all murdered just for trying to protect the people. This information has been stored because they were killed so much over the past to keep this information for the people. So it's not always a bad thing. It's become that way because of the Rothschilds. Sorry, but it all goes back to them. The Red Shields, whatever. There is no other top beyond them, at least from what's been discovered that I know. This whole idea about these aliens coming down and taking over, whatever, that's BS to keep you in fear. Again, this fear. If you're in fear, you can be used. And even from external forces or your own demons, if you stay in that state, then your mind is susceptible, or your consciousness is, to these other conscious entities. And, okay, we accept things only because we live in a linear existence. So we don't have the ability to perceive things that aren't within this linear existence. Hence why I like the things like the Greys actually have to kind of focus to get in that body, and they don't, it's different. But that's another story, I'm sure. So we'll move on. We really have to stay in this state of love and acceptance, because then they have no effect on you, and you cannot be overcome, and no one else will have control over you, even your own demons. So face them, get over them, spend some time, read, and stop being entertained. Just saying.
You know, I just want to say, too, you know, you're right. I mean, half these people that are involved in these secret societies are just people. They don't have a clue of what's going on. They just, you know, a lot of them join because it's a material door open, you know, a better job, you know, it does.
That's like joining the military or joining the police. Why is it good right now? We're aware that it's bad. Why? And if anybody that's there, they should seriously walk away, just to show. And I'm not saying, but that's totally necessary, because we do need to be protected, but we can protect each other. We don't have to be in a label. We don't have to have a mom and dad. We don't have to do this. People usually take care of each other. We used to take care of our families. Now, instead, we send our mom and dad over to a, you know, come on. Why aren't we people anymore? Why? Because our show's on? Oh, here's American Idol.
We have destroyed the family unit here in America. We've allowed these globalists to destroy the family unit. Folks, if you ever get a chance, watch an old episode of The Waltons. That's the way it used to be in this country. We used to have families in this country for a reason, you know. And it wasn't just so that the little kids can tell grandma good night when they go to bed at night either. It was so that the family unit was essential to this country, and they have since over the years broken down the family unit here in America.
CPS.
And that's how you see the communists doing what they did in Russia and in China, you know, where they split the families up. You know, the children go one place, and it was because you couldn't impose your beliefs on your kids. Well, you know,
especially when they're susceptible. We don't seem to realize their brain forms.
Then you're raised by the state, you know, whatever they tell you. That's the number one key, and that's what's going to happen again with this UN world government. That's always been the plan all along, like Von's saying. You know, the family is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
UK wants to institute something to where when you have a child and you leave from the hospital, you go home with a webcam in your house so that they can monitor you to make sure that you're a good parent.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's freedom. Yeah, that'd work. That's freedom.
Yeah, it's better for the kids. We're protecting the kids. That's what we're doing. All this safety things.
Yeah, it's for the children. It's yes, it's for the children. Yeah, what a load of bunk.
It's like the social services today. You know, they're not anybody's friend. These people destroy families, if anything. You know, they split up families. They come in, and you know, it used to be whether how anybody feels about religion. You know, drugs and things like that used to not even. Those things would be addressed by the community. You know, before it would be taken to some higher, you know, some higher god in the state. You know, and that's what you get today. Is most of these families are suffering problems with drugs and things, and it's not something that people should have their children ripped from them for, but it should be something that the community itself is involved in.
Exactly right.
Community, that's what I always teach. I know people are so tired of hearing it, but
it's a village to raise a family. We've heard it a million times.
Yeah. Why do you think they fought homeschooling? God forbid you actually have control of your children longer than 4 hours a night. Because see, okay, we think,
right, that's, you know, so you can't teach them what we're taught, you know, and And it's really sad. I agree with Vaughn 100%. You know, and that's really what the struggle needs to become again, is to get the family unit back together.
Exactly. Exactly
well,
right.
Think about it this way. The kids spend, 8 hours like we do at work, right? At school?
Yeah.
So 8 hours. They should sleep at least 10, so there's 18. How many does that leave you?
6 hours?
6.
Okay. So how many of that time do you actually spend with your child? Most people would...
Very little, because you want to do your own relaxing at the same time.
Yeah, they're either driving home, which usually takes an hour, especially if you're in the bigger cities, you know, and you have to do that. So we're talking an hour both ways. So that's an extra 2 hours taken away from that. There's 4 hours left.
Yeah.
You've got dinner, bath, all these other things. You're out of time. Homework, you have no time to your child or have any effect on them. Someone else does.
And does it really shock anybody why, everybody seems crazy today? I mean, you get on public transportation, you look around, and everybody just looks miserable.
Yeah. Yeah, they do, actually, yeah. Well, see, you're not... Originally, the idea originally was for entrepreneurship and for those people to find work that they actually enjoyed doing, not to get a job because they had bills to pay necessarily, but because they found something that they really enjoyed doing. That was the thing. And see, we've lost that over the years. We've lost that along the way, and we need to get that back. That's the thing.
Yeah.
We need to get that back.
Hey guys,
that
we're
goes
going to
along
take a
with
quick break.
destruction of the middle class. I mean, people who can't afford to buy bread for themselves aren't going to be able to start their own business. So,
Exactly.
these things...
No, they'll end up in a scheme account. So, hey.
Exactly. I mean, these things are all related, folks. I mean, it's shocking once you get into it and you really understand the dynamics of the plan.
Well, hey, y'all hang in there. We got a couple hours left. Lots of time to talk. So, hey, we'll be right back, Freedomizers. Hang in there.
The Disclosure.
Hey, are your ideas for global takeover falling apart? Are you losing sleep over humanity's mass awakening? Is false flag terrorism fizzling out? Global warming gone cold on you? Do you want those global warming deniers to just go away? Are all your phony economic crises being exposed? Is the price of gold defying all your attempts to fix it? Isn't killing the Gulf of Mexico and poisoning millions of people reducing the population fast enough for you? War, famine, and GM food not getting it done either? No? Well, don't give up. Get disclosure. You'll be able to unite mankind with a phony problem and enslave them with one world government and taxes. Yes, disclosure. Your one-stop shop for full spectrum dominance. But wait, there's more. Sign up for Disclosure today and you'll get Problem Reaction Solution absolutely free. That's right, absolutely free. Act now to be entered into our fabulous propaganda prize draw. Disclosure! Our surveys show that 9 out of 10 world leaders prefer it. Disclosure, cleansing the minds of the unwashed masses with a tantalizing, terrifying, taxable new reality. I'm only going to say this 3 times. Disclosure! Disclosure! Aliens may or may not be real. Your home may be at risk from those possible aliens. No major credit cards accepted because there is only one currency under a one world government. Prepare to die screaming, probably. Disclosure is compatible with Project Bluebeam. Do not employ critical thinking.
All right, guys. I took a really quick break, so sorry. I really like that one. I had to play that one.
I love that. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Am I on with you, Nicole, still?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Okay, I had to switch phones, you guys.
Yeah, that's fine. No, I hear you. Everything's cool.
Except he is going out. Yeah, you're pretty low now, though, for sure.
Your volume's a little lower, but I still hear you.
Okay.
So
Man,
yeah,
that commercial's hilarious.
Yeah.
my favorite part still is that Paradise streaming, probably.
There you go.
So, I mean, they keep putting it out. I mean, it looks like it's compatible with Project Bluebeam. Yeah.
But they left out the most important part. It's Venus!
Messages, press 1. To send a message, press 2. To change your personal options, press 3. To place a...
No, they found me. Oh,
right.
They found me.
I think that was actually...
Somebody found me. Oh, my gosh. I'm in trouble.
Yeah, so we lost our guest here, so apparently they found him.
Wow, that's horrible. But no, but yeah, everything is Venus, everything is swamp gas, everything is, it's all...
Swamp gas. How the hell is swamp gas making out? I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I almost made a mistake too, but I caught myself in time. Didn't. But yeah, everything is swamp gas, everything is Venus, everything is the occluded sunlight, and just
Yeah, and the two weeks of daylight that we'll be getting at the end of this year is due to Beetlejuice, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely, yes. They've got their pat answer out there. It's all up to Beetlejuice.
I love that they're debunking it before it even comes to be.
Well, all this has been planned years and years and years ago. That's what I was trying to get across earlier. All this stuff has been planned years and years in advance. They've got this stuff down to a science,
Well, hey, it looks like Damon's back with us too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm back with you guys. Technology.
Yeah. This recording came on and it scared me, man. So I'm glad you're back.
No, that was my voicemail. I tried to hit my speakerphone and somehow it went to my voicemail. I don't get that, but all right.
Yeah, because it included us with it. That was really odd.
Yeah, that was really. Yeah, it was awesome. I thought I was under attack by the New World Order.
I kept looking at my computer to make sure there was nothing going on.
Yeah, really. Yeah, really, man. I was concerned, But yeah. Speaking of concerned, what do you guys think about Uncle Fidel coming out and saying, "Hey, man, I've seen the light and the New World Order and all this stuff, and communism is a fraud," and I'm like, what? Uncle Fidel, man. Uncle Fidel comes out and becomes a truther. Bam. Wow. What a...
right.
Near-death experiences will do that to people, won't they?
I'm thinking that might have been something to that because, yeah, man, I mean, Uncle Fidel, live on national news, man, comes out, yeah, man, communism's a total fraud. It's all New World Order crap, and it's all the elite families and stuff, and I'm just sitting there with my mouth hitting the floor, man. I'm like, wow.
Wow, right.
Fidel Castro, man. I mean, a hardliner, and he just out of the blue, it's like, yeah, man, everything I believed was a lie, and which is the truth. I mean, if you actually do the research, you will find that Baron de Rothschild, Lord Rothschild, whatever, he wrote a big fat check to Karl Marx and Joseph Engels, and had it not been for the Rothschilds getting involved, communism would have never went nowhere. It would have never went. It would have died on the vine. And
these are the people that are going to run the proletariat of the dictatorship of the proletariat.
Correct.
I mean,
correct.
It's an oligarchy for sure.
Yeah, and I'm actually believing that one of my videos might have actually had something to do with opening up his eyes, because I used to rail about that a lot. I used to rail about that, how communism was a lie and it was a farce. So I mean, you never know. You never know what he got his hands on. But yeah,
right.
On major public news, Fidel Castro, communism is a lie. It's a joke. And I'm
let's tell him, welcome, brother.
Yeah, welcome to the truth, man. Hey, anybody that comes to the truth, man, that's what info is, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, man, that's great, man. That just blew my mind, man. That was wild.
So, Damon, what did you notice that, like, a major similarity that might surprise people, like, that seems to correspond with most people's, I guess, governmental systems, the societies, or what in mythologies, that seems to definitely permeate beyond, there's such a core belief, so you want to just take off from there?
Well, I just, like I said earlier, I've been doing a lot of research in the Fabian Society, Socialist Society, and, when you get into that and you see all these people that created it were all Freemasons. Every Annie Besant, Bernard Shaw, and all these people, they were Freemasons. And when you look at the Freemasons, you're like, well, if you have any idea who they are, it all makes sense now, because it all goes back to that utopian belief that, that through transformation of people in their minds, that you can create this utopia where we can all get along and just live happily with no God to offend each other and all this other stuff, which, you're never going to change everybody, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure, Vaughn, you've looked into the Fabian Society, right?
Oh, absolutely. I've had to dig deep into all these old societies. In fact, that's somebody was asking me the other day. They said, "Well, Vaughn, how in the world did you get started in all this?" I said, "Well, my father was Knights Templar and my mother was Eastern Star. So, at a very, very young age, I saw my father would wear that ring with a big G on it, and I'm like, hey, Dad, what does that mean? And, he was very tight-lipped about it, so I went to my local library.
Curiosity.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. I went to the library, and I started pulling down books, and I started researching this stuff at the ripe young age of 5 years old. And so, long before Alex Jones or David Icke or any of those people, I was sitting in a library looking up the Rosicrucians and the Illuminati and the Freemasons and Eastern Star and Shield and Key and Skull and Bones and all that good stuff.
Well, hey, I want to get into something real quick just out of curiosity. So the Lightbringer, Lucifer, whatever you want to refer to it, the bringer of knowledge. What do y'all say about him?
Who, Lucifer?
The bringer of light, yes.
Yeah.
The Morning Star. Well, Morning Star is also many other things.
I can't really talk about that without getting into my own personal Christian beliefs. And I don't. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I don't want to force that on anybody. Well, let's just say it's not good.
No.
Because all these secret societies prop him
Anybody who has control is not good.
Right. And like I said, I don't want to get into my own personal religious beliefs, but all you have to do is understand that if we all agree that these secret societies are no good, well, who are they claiming is their guy? The guy upstairs that's running their game, all right? And then all we have to do is look into each other and agree. Now, I've talked to many people, Hindu, Muslim, and they all agree on the same thing, that this is not a good thing that these people are promoting here, and Lucifer is never, except for to them, a good guy.
Yeah, they believe that that Lucifer actually did mankind a service by taking them out of their divinity and making them mere mortals. And I'm like, what? Are you crazy?
It's like totally opposite.
Yeah, like
everything else.
They had at the time, especially if you read the book of Genesis, Adam and Eve had no sickness, they had no disease, they could actually walk with God without getting burned up.
They learned about life and death. They were given a beginning and an end. Hence, they were made mortal.
And what I get out of the Bible in the story of it is he's the one who created these Nephilim, these demigods that ended up, this is where the ruling families come from.
Mm-hmm. Exactly right. But they
Lucifer did us no favors.
Yeah, they believe that Lucifer was a good guy, and that he was merely that God was oppressing Adam and Eve, and that Lucifer came along and liberated them, so to speak. But that's just not what I get from it when I read it.
But and you look at the other stories, you run into particular, all it is like two separate higher beings than what mankind was at that point, basically thinking, hey, I don't think what you're doing is right. Let me intervene real here and see what happens here. And okay, it's really hard to understand like technology, especially in the past when we don't really have the words that would work that way, because words for technology now are recent. Yeah. They don't exist in the past. So words that existed for technology in the past don't necessarily exist today, or completely disappeared because there was no understanding, say, after a major global event, the deluge or anything else that would be a global change, an ice age. Come on. And that in itself, an event like that, makes all radiocarbon dating null and void. And, Vaughn, you know why, right?
I'm sorry, you lost me. What?
When you have
carbon
a major
dating,
global event.
how it's not really even science, in a sense.
Yeah, the radiocarbon dating.
Yeah, the carbon dating thing, there's a lot of countries.
Based on an assumption, first of all.
Yeah, there is a lot of controversy on the carbon dating as to whether it's accurate or not. One of the big things that if you will have a hard time trying to find anything contrary to carbon dating. So what you have to do is you have to Google the Shroud of Turin in order to find out the opposite situation concerning carbon dating, because somebody has went and sanitized the internet for your protection. So when you try to find anything contrary to carbon dating, you have to Google the Shroud of Turin just to find anything contrary to carbon dating.
For those who don't understand, carbon dating in itself is based on an assumption that the radioactivity in the atmosphere stays constant. So if there is a global event that changes the radioactivity of the atmosphere, the radiocarbon dating is no longer accurate. So we'll say prior to 2000, a little bit over 2,000 years ago, it's not accurate. So we'll say even 4,000 or 5,000. We'll just spread it a little bit, okay? Anything prior to that, they can't truly date, at least not within the current method.
Yeah, it's the idea that the magnetosphere or the atmosphere or the ionosphere is going to remain constant for billions and billions of years. I'm sorry, I just don't buy that.
I agree with you guys.
Yeah, that's crazy on its face. And then there was somebody, and yes, he was a Christian, ironically, but that doesn't take away from his thesis. He came out with, and he was a Christian scientist. He came out with a thesis that originally the Earth had a water canopy, an atmosphere composed of water vapor, and that it was the collapse of this water vapor canopy atmosphere that caused the Great Flood and other such things. And and it seemed to actually make sense, because that would have created a very, very highly tropical situation. And if you actually go back and look at the plants and animals of the Jurassic and Cretaceous period, you actually see that it was a more tropical environment.
And look at the stories from Dogon, the tribe in Africa. They say the exact same thing, that man couldn't see because everything was a big mist, and you couldn't even see the sun at half the time. It was like living in London or something.
Correct. And it was the collapse of this water vapor canopy atmosphere that caused the Great Flood. And subsequently, more radiation from the sun was able to get in, and et cetera, and it made absolutely perfect sense to me. So that was an interesting thing to read about that. I wish I could recall the guy's name, because he was really a fascinating person to find out about and read about. And if
I wanted to touch on something too after you're done, Vaughn.
Yeah, well, go ahead. The flood keeps coming up here, and it keeps reminding me of something we haven't really touched on yet, and what the plan is of these globalists. We got to remember that if we really believe there's something coming, a cataclysm, whoever controls the planet going into this cataclysm is going to control it on the other side of the cataclysm, and that's I believe that's what's going on here. Well, I think a little bit of cement and some rebarb would prevent them from ever controlling the planet ever again. But that's just me. They want to go into little underground bunkers. Let them go into their little underground bunkers, and then I'll back up my cement truck and I'll put me some rebar in there, and they can stay in their little underground bunkers. That's the way I look at it.
Well, Nickie was saying something about you had some videos. Was that Vaughn you were telling me, Nickie, that he had videos that was taped underground in some of these places?
No, that was
Uncle Buck.
Uncle Buck.
Uncle Buck. Okay, yeah. Man, I found that amazing.
Yeah, most people aren't aware of that, but I mean, we kind of think, okay, they got all this underground storage, whatever. They actually have many, many, many places across the U.S. alone that are like underground, like fortresses, basically, okay? And they're huge, much bigger than what you would ever conceive of. And I'm sure most people have seen like Stargate or whatever on the side of the mountain, which that really is the location, blah, blah. So imagine that, and that was like how long ago was it built? So I'm just saying, a lot has been done since then, and the idea is that, okay, say everything does go to shit, and the U.S. literally falls apart. And I mean, we got that new fault line, everything else, right? So say it literally does fall apart. people are going to go looking for things of this nature. So they have a ton of them. Why? Because they want the powers that be to at least have one of them. And if a few are overwhelmed by, I don't know, citizens, what are they going to do?
They're going to shoot us. At least that's what they said. That's what they said on Jesse Ventura's conspiracy theory.
Amen.
They told on Jesse Ventura's conspiracy theory show. They said, well, what do you do if you have millions of Americans wanting to get into the facility? And he said, we will shoot them.
Yep.
So there you go.
And they've always got their backup too, the International Space Station. I mean, what's that sitting up there for? Nobody's using it.
Oh, that's there for our entertainment.
Yeah,
that's
that's up there to keep our eyes off the real situation that's going on. That's what that's for. That's exactly.
Yeah, seriously. Come on. Okay. No. I think one of the astronauts actually slipped on air once and talking about already been to Mars and back a couple of times. So come on, things slip all the time. That's there so that we're shown that they are advancing technology. Ooh, some breadcrumbs. Yeah.
Well,
so
I always just find it a little funny that these nations that are supposedly not okay with each other, Russia and China and America and all these, they're working together on this thing. I always did kind of find that a little funny.
That's because their whole competition here is to keep us in, like you said, in chaos. Because then we are confused and not benefiting our own mind. We aren't using our abilities at that moment. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. I'm just saying, they don't want you to know what power you truly have. I'm a positive person. I know people have to deal with that. I always see the positive things. And the more that they do to us, I keep saying that shows that, seriously, they're not having an effect like they want to. So I love it.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing to do, It's about love. It is.
It really is, yeah. That's absolutely true.
And we could get into just the fact that some of the ideas that these alien entities or whatever are here to soul harvest. And they want you in a state of fear because that's something that they can either intake or whatever. But if you're in a state of love, they can't do anything with it. And you're untouchable. Just saying.
Yeah.
It seems to be everywhere, whether you perceive it or in what story. That seems to be the core thing. If you are not in a state of fear and you are in a state of love, then they can't do anything to you.
Yeah, and that's why I love Ike's, his whole premise is that, they can't even feel love. They can't even delve into it because it's so above them.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because ironically, I had a dream about that very thing. And hang on just a second. I'll be right back.
All right, cool. He's got family too. Trust me, I completely understand. That is one thing. We're always so busy. And you do too. So, yeah, kids, we all understand.
Yeah, totally.
Because people think we're so disconnected. We're still trying to take care of our families, everything else. The thing is that once you face this information, can you walk away? I mean, it's not like I haven't looked everywhere else to try to find truth in any possible form because I love information. I will read anything you hand me. But I have an ability to know, what works for me and what doesn't. And whether that is, applicable to the world around me or not, I don't know. But if something doesn't work for me, I automatically know and I shut it out. So, this is just what I've come about. So
I think love of family is what drives us to do what we do.
Sorry about that, guys.
Oh,
real life intervened here, but
that's what we were just talking about. We all have families, so it's all good.
yeah. But no, I it's ironic because I typically do not.
Children on the porch and stared at me.
Thank you. It's ironic that you guys brought that up because I usually do not dream, and I had a dream of exactly that. And I had a dream of exactly that I was watching souls being removed from people's bodies, put in other people's bodies, and it was very surreal, man. It was very weird.
All I gotta say about that, seriously, and this is just take it for what it is, okay? Anybody ever sees that light, turn around.
Yeah,
okay? Don't give yourself to someone else. Deal with yourself.
Right. Robert Morningstar warned never to go into the light. Do not go into the light.
Yeah.
That is the worst thing you could do, and that comes.
You're giving yourself to somebody else.
Yeah.
Realize that you have that power too. Turn around and
And
look.
wasn't that the whole premise of that movie Skyline too? About the the aliens and how the whole thing was the light was attracting us. That's great.
Yeah.
They didn't give her baby food. They just gave her milk. They said they were going to give her baby food.
All right. But yeah, that was very, very strange, and I usually don't dream. So what's up with that? There must be something to that. But it was really surreal, man. I was sitting there and I was watching souls being removed from certain bodies, put into different bodies, everything being changed around. Sometimes whole new bodies. Yeah, soul capping, soul swapping. The whole 9 yards. It was very surreal, man. It was very weird.
Dude, and just in particular, I've read always, and I always love Stephen King. Okay, so I read all the Anne Rice series on the vampires, whatever. I really liked it. There is a book in there that even talks about this as well. There's this whole idea that we have this global consciousness, subconscious, whatever, this global memory, our past. It is there. We're all the same. We can remember even what you just have to focus. You have to have a question. Remember, question. Curiosity is a beautiful thing we need more of. Just saying. But in the book, it was about trading place. It's kind of that kind of thing where someone could switch bodies, literally take your soul and move it. And they use that. And only if you are open to it can you. If you are in a state of fear, then you are available for that. If you are in a state of where you don't accept anything, or if you're totally entertained and your mind is numb, you are available for those wanting to come to this physical reality to experience things, because it is beautiful here. Again, don't go to the light. It is beautiful here. Don't forget to be here. That's what it is, because that's what they're trying to do. If you're numb, they can take over, and now they're here.
Well, and it's funny you say that, too, because, I hate to bring the guy's name up, because, I know who we're dealing with when I say this, but Friedrich Nietzsche himself wrote that the soul remembers all things throughout these different lives that he lives, that you're the same person, you like the same interests, you follow the same, and that, it's just really funny, because anybody who studies Nietzsche understood he knew a little bit more than the average person. When you get into these things, the Superman, the ideas of all these things, and, it is really interesting.
Indeed it does, and that's absolutely right. But it was very surreal, man. I was the one that was swapping the souls. That was what was really creepy.
Maybe to show that you have that power.
I don't know. I really don't know. Hey, Variable, how you doing? I see one of my friends in the chat there. So hey, Variable, how you doing? But yeah, it was really surreal, man.
But to have a dream when you don't have one, for me, I love dreams. I'll sleep all day just for a dream, because I get lost in them. And it's not weird.
That's the thing. I don't dream. And so then I get this out of the blue, and it's like, what the heck is this thing, Well,
see, it's important, because those that either don't dream, for those that dream and have, if they lose their path, if they go somewhere else, this is just, again, just what I feel, and to me, what I know. So I'm not going to say it's not to me, this is what I know, okay? But when you stop dreaming, you've actually lost away for a little while. Because our dreams literally are contacted to, where we're going, where we've been, everything. And it's a way for our mind to process all of this. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But when you've lost that for a while, and I did for a while, it destroyed me. I didn't sleep anymore, because there was no reason sleeping. Seriously. I didn't care. There was no reason. And I was lost. And it finally came back. But it's beautiful. Dreams are so important. And the thing is that a lot of people, they say they don't remember them, but they're there. They're always there when you first wake up, and they drift away. And the reason being is because we're perceiving things on a lot of people will move a lot, like they're running or something, actually living life. I'm always in somewhere similar every time I dream, but that's because there are other realities, what are they called? Dimensions, right? They found 13 so far, but think about this. There are 360 degrees. Trust me, there are 360 dimensions around us. We're talking full everywhere, above, below, everywhere. There's something everywhere. We're only accepting 2D, 3D reality. Yet we have 6 senses. That makes it 6D to begin with.
That's exactly right. That's a very good analogy. Makes sense.
I think the Native Americans had a good handle on dreams. They seem to really understand it.
They do. They even had something they called a dream catcher.
Right.
For the bad dreams.
Not rain.
Yeah.
Me personally, I don't have really good dreams, so I don't really enjoy them. It's just the facts. I don't know. So I tend to not enjoy them. I really wish I didn't have them most of the time.
Well, it's some of them. See, I've gotten used to. Most of my dreams are extremely violent, but whatever. So is life. But I would prefer. I like it. I don't know. It's just the thing is that they're real, whether you realize it or not. Okay, whether you accept it or not. If you don't accept it, then they're not real.
Yeah.
For me, they tend to show things, and you should always pay attention. And I tend to. What about, because I have, long deja vus and stuff the last, couple of minutes. I can show what everybody's saying. I, know beforehand. It's a trip. When those happen, that's, major turning events. And what I've understood is that's the time that you have when those events happen that you can change where you're going. Those are one of those little, I guess, when you're on a train, what is it, relay stations? Yeah, those are one of those relay points. It's just, again, this is just what I know. I won't say my opinion because this is just what I know. But deja vu is another important thing you should pay attention to. They're very hard to change, too. It's very hard to alter things if you have deja vu.
Yeah, deja vu is something very interesting for me because I found that, if I go for a long period of time without having a deja vu, I kind of wonder if I'm kind of slipping on going in the wrong direction or something,
Yeah.
Because
that's what I consider dreams, because most of my dreams happen in a day, but that's another story anyways. But yeah, that's what I consider dreams, are those deja vu things. Those are past things I remember. Once it happens, I know everything about it because it's already been there. But then again, time's not exactly linear, is it?
No, not at all.
Well, hey, I missed my break again. See, there's another half hour gone.
Live radio. There you go.
Well, hey, Freedomizers, hang in there. If y'all want to join us, call 347-324-3704, and you can always check out everybody else at Freedomizer at www.freedomizerradio.com. And, I'm just going to play a really quick clip from, actually, Manly P. Hall. So, hang in there.
We've been trying to find out what love is, but we will never find it by trying to get a definition out of a book or something of that kind. The only way that honest, simple, genuine love can be transmitted is by experience, by the absolute fact of itself. Are we able to be kind to each other? Are we able to forgive our enemies? Are we able to do good to those who despitefully use us? Are we willing to continue quietly in a meek way of life? Are we interested in the simple humilities of virtue? Do we want a happiness that arises from making others happy, rather than sacrificing them to our happiness? Do we want a happy home? Are we willing to support it by character, by integrity? Love is an experience of consciousness, an experience in the soul of man. It is something that is a great releasing power against the tyranny of personal attitudes. It is placing something bigger than yourself in the foreground of your life. It is dedicating to your acts to projects, to purposes, to convictions that are of common good to all mankind. Love is a mature emotion. It is not the mysterious bubbling of adolescence. It is a deep, lasting, enduring dedication. Love is not merely staying with it till it hurts and then walking out on it. Love is not merely getting into various emotional situations for profit, for gain, for social standing. There can be no selfishness and no self-centeredness in true affection. Also, love cannot be bought, bartered, or sold. It remains as it has always been, basically, the purest of all human emotions. And if it becomes adulterated or becomes defiled, it is one of the most terrible adversities with which we must struggle in our course of existence. Between our love principle in our souls and its expression in life is a strange personality equation, full of self-centeredness, full of false ambitions, full of prejudices and tyrannies and intemperances and intolerances. This personality, which we like to cater to forever, is not only a personality that brings tragedy to ourselves, but the compound of this personality has resulted in over 8,000 wars in the course of history. That is rather too many. And many of these wars have been fought to defend peace. We have fought also about religion and about the very brotherhood which we need so desperately. And yet, after it's all said and done, and we look around ourselves and we say, well, what can we do about it? It's truly a terrible situation. And if it continues as it is, it'll be a fatal situation. So we're going to have to recognize that all the compromising that we do in order to accomplish our own personal desires, all these things, all this compromise leads to nothing. It never has succeeded, never can. For all this great struggle of competitive materialism ends at the grave. And we take with us out of this life only what we brought in, ourselves. So with this, it shouldn't be so difficult for the individual to say to himself, let's make this daily life a little happier for everyone. Let's try to do it right for a change.
All right. See, we're back now, and y'all are both with me. So who wants first at telling who Manly P. Hall is?
Well, let him do it.
Well, he's I ended up finding out he's a 33rd degree Mason, and he's the author of The Secret Teachings of All Ages, a couple other books too, but I mean, that's like his well-known, great work. And it does go on to explain that, the quote-unquote God of Freemasonry is Lucifer. I mean, it's quite open if anybody reads that book. And one has to wonder, what is he talking about in that speech? Because we all, we here know where these people are coming from. It almost sounds backwards to me.
Well, it does seem backwards to us, I'm sure it makes perfect sense to them, but it does seem backwards to us. At least it does to me.
That's why they keep expecting us to respond like they would. That's why they keep expecting this chaotic response, and yet we still remain in contact with each other and wanting to take care of each other. That's why, because we're not like that.
No. It's like this brotherhood. It's like this brotherhood he's talking about. I mean, what is it? Is he talking about just mankind himself, or is this the global government that is going to force us to be a brotherhood? You know what I mean?
Well, any time you have to force someone to adhere to something, they're no longer free. And the desire of people to be free is always going to rise to the surface. And they just don't seem to get that part. That's the part they don't seem to understand, apparently.
Hey, I love what someone just said, a friend of mine, Angus Barron. He said, the Illuminati are not above anyone, they are below.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There you go. Absolutely.
Their supposed high reptilian genes, that just makes them less human.
Yeah, well, that's what I would think, too. That's what I would think. We are more human than they are. I would agree with that. I really do. But see, that because they have more reptilian DNA in their bloodstream, aka blue bloods, they believe that they have the legal right, the blood-borne right to rule over us. And
right.
I'm sorry, but I just disagree with that statement.
Yeah, I find it shocking when I hear that. I just like the second time I've heard that.
I gotta say, somebody just said brotherly love sounds gay and incestuous. Have you ever met the elite? No, they are. What do you think they do to keep everybody in line?
Backwards messages, hidden symbols. I mean, it's read any of these books by these people, you totally understand where they're coming from.
I love that. I'm just saying that's what they are.
Yeah.
Hey, Vaughn, did you leave us?
Oh no.
Must have stepped away for a minute. So it's all good. I was like,
no, I'm right here. I'm right here. I was distracted, but I'm right here.
yeah.
I was distracted for a second.
Oh, that's all good. That's a very positive thing. Yeah. Distraction's not always a bad thing.
Yeah, not always a bad thing. No, that's true.
We had a family emergency while ago, so tell him about that.
Yeah. She was telling one of my relatives fell off of his horse.
Yeah, and they're saying he's going to give up the horse. So like everybody's freaking out.
Yeah, he busted himself up pretty bad, and
awful, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, those accidents will happen, folks.
He might have been coming over to see us.
We never get away from accidents. Hello, DX Outlaw.
I'll learn my lesson from the last bad accident I had.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about life is life's still life. We always think that it's either bad or good, and life is. Why do we have to have Jimmy's labels? That's just it. Life is.
Right, and that goes along with this whole thing. They're going to force us into a perfect life. Come on now.
Yeah, well, see, the problem is that their idea of a perfect life is total and complete bondage. That's the problem. That's the problem. It's total and complete bondage, and so no, I reject that. I reject that out of hand. I don't want to be in bondage. I don't want to be in bondage to anyone or anything.
Absolutely. And it goes along with the lines of, when you look in the symbol of the most known symbol of the Illuminati and all these people is the pyramid. And, although it's got many different, meanings for it, but the one that always stuck to me was that you look at the bottom row of the pyramid, and that's us. You know what I mean? These people are the top, the eye, the apex, And that's always really kind of stood out to me.
Well, you'll notice that the capstone of the pyramid is not attached to the rest of the pyramid.
Right.
And I believe there's a reason for that. I believe the reason that the top of the pyramid is not attached to the rest of the pyramid is because it's not human. It's not human.
Absolutely.
I believe it. Now depending upon who you talk to, that could either be demonic, aka Lucifer, or it could be reptilian, or amazingly enough, it could be both at the same time. I mean, there's a lot of people that believe that reptilians are demonic spirits, and hey, I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. If that's how you want to deal with it, then that's fine. But yeah, the top of the pyramid's not attached, and I believe that's because it's not human.
I don't like that. Instead of going within the self, they go way beyond. So
well, the elite admit themselves that they get their hidden knowledge, their secret knowledge from the stars. They actually admit that in many of their writings. Albert Pike and Aleister Crowley and some of these other guys, they actually admit that in their writings, that they get their hidden knowledge from the stars. So, so yeah.
Well, so do many others. There's stories in every culture, and I don't mean that like there's not an exception. There is no exception. Every single culture has a past that talks about the star beings or the beings of light, or how about the Star Brothers? That's a big deal, isn't it?
Right, the Galactic Federation.
Yeah, Galactic Federation of Light. Yay! The GFL will save us all, folks. I'm telling you. But it's funny because every one of these ancient cultures not only said that these creatures existed, but that they were coming back someday.
Absolutely.
And so, wonder what that entails. It's like I was on with Nickie a few days ago, and we were talking about Dagon the fish god, and, that my government source was saying that this planet that's out there is quite possibly a water planet. And that these extraterrestrials are waterborne creatures, and that they're coming down here to tell us, hey, y'all are messing up, and we're all going to go extinct if we don't do certain things, yada yada yada. And so, could this be?
It's like the Palladians, but they're here to help us, but only if you do what they say.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's interesting because when everybody thinks of a planet coming in the solar system, what do they think of? Oh, it's Nibiru. Well, this may not be Nibiru, especially if it turns out that it is in fact a water planet. Because I never heard of Nibiru being called a water planet.
Never. In fact, everything I heard, all the writing talked about it being very fertile with lots of land. So
yes, exactly.
Well, I've heard of it as being very radiated, you know, and there's just so many different versions of it, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's supposed to be so radiated that it glows, you know.
Yeah, but I've never heard of it being a waterborne.
Well, see, that is one thing. Think about it. When you see asteroids and everything else, what you see, the tail is from water burning off. So what you see burning, that nice little, that's why, well, maybe it is. Who knows? So that gives it another idea, because that's what burns off and causes those trails. And if there is an energy source in front of it, that could definitely maybe make it a different color, you know?
Yeah, I'm glad somebody in text brought it up, because I totally forgot it. Somebody had texted me on Skype that NASA has shut down their WISE spacecraft. Well, now, why is that so important? Well, the reason that's so important is because the WISE spacecraft is instrumental in finding brown dwarf stars.
Because of the light source that's used by it, yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, with NASA shutting down their WISE spacecraft, how fortuitous of them that they shut it down just as we happen to have a rogue planetary body entering our solar system. Wow. The coincidences are just piling up, folks, I'm telling you.
I think I remember reading about over a year ago that it would be appearing about this time in the southern hemisphere, right? And that's hence why NASA built that nice little observatory down there to be able to view it coming in.
That was the Vatican that built the huge observatory. The largest
one in the world. Yeah, it's the biggest one in the world.
Exactly. Largest observatory in the world. It was built by the Vatican, and it was built right smack dab on the South Pole.
Mm-hmm. And these are the people that are going to baptize the aliens.
Yeah, they're
I know, right? Yeah. We have an alien ambassador, so come on.
The UN did that. That's right.
The UN did it, but I think she rejected the title. So the job is now open. So if you want to be the first one to get dehumanized by a laser beam and cut in two and all that, you might want to give a call to the UN. They're looking for somebody. So
just by back to biblical stories, was there ever a good story when the gods came down? When we actually had interaction with the so-called gods? That it was a positive thing? Beyond them teaching us, but they were always feuding with themselves, and we always suffered.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, let's take the Aztecs, Incas, and Toltecs as an example. Okay, the reptilians came down, and yes, okay, the reptilians came down and taught them a lot of things, but then the reptilians also told them, hey, rip a beating heart out of a live human being and sacrifice it to us, and we'll keep the sun going up and down in the sky.
It sounds just like the typical ruling families today.
Yeah, and I'm like, is that really a trade-off? I mean, okay, they give us some knowledge, they gave us fire, they gave us some knowledge, but then at the same time they're telling us to rip a live beating heart out of a human being and sacrifice it to them. And I mean, if I was an advanced culture looking at a primitive culture, would I want to do something that evil to them? No, I don't think I would. But that's just.
What about the Hopi Indians, Vaughn? I mean, you got a lot of Native American. You've studied a lot of this, from what I understand, right?
Yes, I'm slowly but surely learning it. Yes, I'm slowly but surely.
Okay, hey guys, tell you what, I got to step out for a minute too, like Vaughn did. Can y'all keep
Nikki,
it up for about 5-10 minutes? I'll be back.
I got to take off this year. I got something to go take care of, but I appreciate you letting me stay on with you guys.
Yeah. I'm still. Wait a minute. I'm going to do this by myself.
Wait, no. Please take in for about 5 minutes.
Holy crap! I'm going to be by myself, guys.
No. Damon, do you really have to leave right now? Could you wait like 5 minutes?
I can wait 5 minutes. Yeah, I just got some hoops to go jump through for the the man. So.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Wait 5 minutes, and I'll be right back too. Please.
You got it.
I'm sitting. I didn't know what to do, so I thought, well, I'll break out into song. That'll keep them occupied. I don't know. But yeah, man. I mean, when you think of all the, they've gave them some interesting information that they couldn't get from anywhere else, but at the same time, they're doing all of this evil stuff to their culture. Just saying all this evil stuff, rip a beating heart out of a human being, sacrifice your baby, stuff like that. And it's like, man, how cruel is it of an advanced culture to do something like that to a primitive culture like that. That's not right, man. That is horrible. That's a horrible thing.
And that's what I'm trying to is like. Well, I know the Hopi Indians. They talk about that. You know, they were created in Mount Shasta by the Serpent Brothers. You know, and I don't really remember hearing any negative stories about that. That's why I was asking you if have you ever heard anything that came negative out of that whole. You know.
I'm still actually researching that. And in fact, that was one of the reasons why I'm very excited about hopefully getting together with Robert Morningsky and Red Elk here in the not-too-distant future and having a powwow, a literal powwow, with Red Elk and Robert Morningsky, and then we sit down and we actually talk about these things. Because I'm still in the process of studying it.
And Nickie was telling me you guys are planning something all through up the Pacific Northwest and things too. Correct. And you know, I'm very excited about that. I hope that can be. I hope that can come to pass because that would be totally awesome. Well, I live right up here, man, in Washington. So you let me know.
Okay. Yeah, I've already ever since I talked about it in one of my videos, I've been getting swamped with email. Hey, Vaughn, I live in the Northwest. Let me know when you guys are getting together. I want to be there. I'm like, oh, man, you know, I could just, you know, these poor guys are going to get swamped by thousands of people showing up, you know. I don't know.
Why don't you keep me in contact, man? Let me know what's going on if you guys find something.
Yeah, well, I imagine we'll probably end up recording it. If not doing it live, I'm sure we'll at least record it, you know.
Yeah, she said there's something about pyramids up here in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that just like, you know, wow.
Yeah, what did you think about that X-class solar flare, man? I mean, that sucker hit us here not too long ago, and I understand it hit China and wreaked a little bit of havoc on China. Did you hear about that X-class solar flare?
No, I haven't heard much about it.
Yeah,
they said it's bad.
Supposedly it hit China and wreaked a little bit of havoc, you know, so there you go.
Well, you know, we knew these things were coming. You know, they've been warning us for thousands of years that, you know, these are all signs of the times.
Absolutely, and according to spaceweather.com, there's actually more on the way. So, you know, we're not out of the woods by a long shot on that.
Right. Yeah, we're gonna start seeing some other things going on here. You know, I'm expecting more. You know, being up here in the Pacific Northwest, you know, our biggest fear is earthquakes and volcanoes. You know.
Right. Exactly.
So you know, I got I got every. You know, I'm looking for it. That's for sure.
Yeah. Got to dodge the lava balls. You know. Got to dodge, man. You know, remember the movie 2012. You know, they're dodging the lava balls as they're taking off in their little mobile home. Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Well, I was looking on one of your videos on the comments, and somebody was talking about Michigan and the cracks or something. Do you know anything about that or what?
Well, as a matter of fact, somebody PM'd me about that not too long ago and said that Alabama and Arkansas are still getting the huge cracks in the ground. Texas is getting huge cracks in the ground. Louisiana is getting huge cracks in the ground. Michigan, on the other side of the Mississippi, it's getting huge cracks in the ground. So, you know, what's up with that, folks? I mean, you know, it looks like the fault line there on the Mississippi River is definitely starting to act up. You know, at least it seems like
we're getting pulled, you know, from different directions or whatever.
Yeah.
And that goes along with that pole shift, you know.
Exactly right. It sure does. And I was very glad to see that a skeptic, a well-known, well-respected skeptic, is now totally on board with what's been going on and what is going on. Because when you actually do sit down and do the math, you know, there's no getting around it. There is something definitely out there influencing our planets. Like I said, I don't know if it's. Will Michigan split in half? That's a very good question, Joe, and I have no idea. I don't know the answer.
Well, do you know exactly where this crack is located in Michigan? I mean, is it?
There's 3 videos on YouTube right now about the crack in Michigan, and so all you have to do is just put it in a YouTube search, and the videos will pop right up.
Interesting, yeah, because, I've got a lot of background in Michigan and Detroit and things, so it's kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, the skeptic's name, if I recall correctly, was Stan Deo, and he was he's a skeptic. Let me make sure I got the name right. Yeah, Stan Deo. I'll put it in the text chat. Then you get it. Well, no, I can't put it in the text chat because I'm not logged in. Oh well. But yeah, it's Stan Deo. And Deo is spelled D-E-Y-O. So, well-known skeptic, well-known author, physicist.
Are these cracks running east and west, north and south, or how's that working?
I believe they're actually running sort of north and south. Yeah, Carniard has videos about a crack in his yard. That's along those same lines. And but yeah, man, everything somewhere along the Mississippi is starting to, the ground out in the outskirts of the Mississippi River is starting to crack up, and that's not a good thing.
That's not good. No.
No, that is definitely not a good thing.
Hey guys, I made it back.
Hey, all right, good. It's my turn to go now.
Well, it's cool. We're at the top of the hour, so, and I know you've got to go, Damon. So you want to say goodbye to everybody and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, everybody, I just want to say thanks for having me on, Nickie, and Vaughn. It was a pleasure, man. And, everybody listening, do some research and do this. I'm a nobody. I'm very interested in what's going on in the world. And if anybody wants to email me or whatever, it's Damon Watson, DamonWatson 88 at yahoo.com. Or if you're on Facebook, just look up Damon Watson.
I just put your Facebook URL in the chat room.
Yeah, I'm a simple guy to get a hold of. I figure the least the better. You know what I mean? So
cool. Well, it's been
appreciate
fun, man. I'm so sad you have to go.
Yeah, I just gotta go take care of some stuff I gotta do for
we all understand. For real. Well, I'll see you again for sure. So.
Well, thank you again, and tell Vaughn I'll talk to him later, and he can go ahead and email me too. I'd like to keep in contact with him. He's a great guy to know.
Cool. Well, you have fun, and we'll talk soon.
We will. Thank you, guys. I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye, Damon. All right, Freedomizers, you're here with Nickie Nix as we rise above dehumanization, and we'll have the Punisher back with us in just a moment. And you can call in and join us, 347-324-3704. You can also check out the other hosts at Freedomizer at www.freedomizerradio.com. Hang in there, we'll be right back with you.
Hi folks, CT here. I want to talk to you about a great preparedness resource, tomorrowsharvest.com. Whether it's an economic collapse or nature's fury, there's no feeling more secure than knowing that your loved ones will be well fed. If it's time to bug out or just camping with the family, Tomorrow's Harvest offers high quality, cost-effective, and long-term smart food storage. Get your free sample. The choices are great. From blueberry pancakes to cowboy chili, no one else has the meal variety of Tomorrow's Harvest. They also provide other survival necessities. Check out the various packages and customize your meal supply. Remember, there's no reason for fear today when you're prepared with Tomorrow's Harvest. Go to www.tomorrowsharvest.com and tell them you are Freedomizer.
Are you wondering about your retirement portfolio? Are you confident your financial advisor is experienced enough to combat climbing interest rates, taxes, and inflation? Stop guessing and go to the expert, Robert Chapman of International Forecaster. When you subscribe to the International Forecaster, you get Robert Chapman's 45 years of experience, concise investment recommendations. Who needs sugar-coated excuses when you can get the hard facts and proven investment leads you can't get anywhere else? Subscribe now for a free introductory copy to Robert Chapman's International Forecaster. Experience the difference. Subscribe now online at the 3Ws.theinternationalforecaster.com. When you subscribe, you can email Robert Chapman directly to obtain tailored investment advice just for you. Don't wait. Get online and subscribe today. The 3Ws.theinternationalforecaster.com.
Freedomizer Radio. Waking people up. They have their little puppets and underlings and cliques, and pretty much every government on this planet will do their bidding as they push us into this one world system. That's how it works. Somebody needs to carve that thing up, and I think I might be the man for the job. Be the man for the job. Waking people up. Just a tinfoil. Waking people if I got to break down the information, waking people up. Every time I get to have this conversation, it sends them a little deeper down the rabbit hole. Look a little deeper. Freedomizer Radio, waking Freedomizer Radio, waking people up.
Your call is important to us. Please continue to hold, and we'll be with you shortly.
Thank you for holding. How can I be of service to you today?
Yes, I have this recurring charge on my monthly statement, and I can't figure out what it's for.
Well, we'll certainly do our best to help you. What does the charge say on your statement?
Well, it's a $275 charge, and it just says Iraq War.
Yes, ma'am, that is correct. The Iraq War cost the average American family over $16,000 since the war started.
Are you kidding? Well, I never signed up for that.
I'm sorry, ma'am. You don't sign up for the Iraq War charge.
Tell me, have you enjoyed your war so far?
It's a standard charge for all Americans.
Have you gotten a picture of who they are?
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
Did some men in a cave knock down your tower?
While you're still in line, can I interest you in our new monthly Iran War charge?
No.
Are you gonna behave or lay next to flowers?
Thanks for calling the United States.
Wake up, sleepyhead. It's after 8, you're late. Get out of bed. Fuck what a spectator said. Scientific dictatorship straight ahead. Rise and shine, sleepyhead. It's after 8, you're late. Get out of bed. This is a bucket of water on your head. You're asleep. You might as well be dead.
Exactly what they were going to do. They wrote a document called the Project for a New American Century.
Don't ever say I didn't warn you. That's about all one can do. Anything these creatures tell, the opposite is probably true. But every day their grip is getting stronger. We must not prune the tree of evil any longer. Every day, the tyrant's getting closer. Will you sit back and watch, or do what you're supposed to?
What can I get with 2.3 trillion? When does a citizen become a civilian? When did the heroes morph into the villains? How can 2 planes powderize 3 buildings? These are questions that could get you murked, politically, socially, physically put into the dirt. Many swear that there's some kind of conflict of interest within. The conflict depends upon what you're interested in. You can chant 9/11 was an inside job all day until you say the Mossad and pay closer attention to Flight 175 and the odd cylindrical pod beneath the fuselage. Then it's 2 plus 2 level addition after you factor in the flight termination systems. Then flash back to the cash the good rabbi stole, September 10th style, right down the rabbit hole. What can I get with 2.3? You can get unlimited corporate news. What can I get with 2.3? You can have any mercenary you choose. What can I get with 2.3 trillion? You can steal a couple million souls. What can I get with 2.3 trillion? You can get everything under control. The missile they hit the Pentagon with was not an act of randomness. It murdered accountants, bookkeepers, and budget analysts. That side of the building was retrofitted prior to this to withstand bomb blast, the nickname the catcher's mitt. If that don't give you some kind of clue why they blew the mortar, maybe you should take some medication for your new disorder. If buildings are burning, don't ever trust a news reporter with 267 stories of gruesome slaughter. Don't ever mention Dove Zakim and trillions stolen, much less missile-equipped Boeings even remote controlling. With System Planning Corporation International, the folks that see if you got some buildings you like to crash into. But that's impossible without the proper capital. That's why I'm asking you what you would do with unimaginable wealth. So much money you can't delve in it. Enough to buy 10 presidents and 12 senates. What can I get with 2.3? You can get unlimited corporate news. That's right. What can I get with 2.3? You can have any mercenaries you choose all night. What can I get with 2.3? You can steal a couple million souls. Indeed. What can I get with 2.3? You can get everything under control. Now that's greed. What can I get? What can I get? What can I get with 2.3 trillion? What can I get? What can I get with 2.3? What can I get with 2.3 trillion? What can I get?
You know, it took me about a year to start hating the 9/11 victims' families. It took me about a year. And I had such compassion for them, and I really, I wanted to help them.
That's about a millionth of what you can get with 2.3 trillion. Some clown named Glenn Beck, fucking with a Pentagon talking point of how he hates the 9/11 victims' families. But that didn't roll over too well, did it, Glenn? They're well aware they can no longer create a consensus as effectively as they used to. So they parade some other clown on the other side of the spectrum named Geraldo to tacitly give 9/11 truth a 6-minute segment semblance of credence, as if we didn't have that 9 years ago, dummy. The system is designed to make you think anything is funny. Pretty soon you won't be able to buy anything with your monopoly money, dummy. What can I get with 2.3 trillion? What can I get with 2.3 trillion? What can I get with 2.3 trillion?
Alright, Freedomizers, we're back with you. And of course, that's Payday Monsanto. I've had much respect for him for quite a while now. And it's not that, it's not usually my typical music, but man, I'm all about the lyrics lately, seriously, and I'm impressed. I really am. And talk about poetic ability, a lot of people don't even have that anymore. They're just reciting old work, or it's talent and artistic talent especially, I have great respect for. And with all great artists, you need a great art appreciator, and I'm definitely there for that. So, hey, Vaughn, you still there?
I'm still right here. I'm hanging in there for we're on the last hour stretch, right?
We are. It's kind of disappeared pretty fast today.
Yeah, the time flies when you're having fun. It really does. And so that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I'm all about information. I'm sure people in the chat or whatever, they're probably like, oh, are they ending yet? Yeah, no. Actually, people are pretty happy about it, so it's nice.
Yeah, it makes it nice. It really does. Yeah, no doubt about that. No doubt about it.
Because we're not here. We don't have a script, We're not out here. We didn't even have an agenda here at all. There was no set topic, anything. We're just talking.
I just got Skyped with a text message saying you have a great singing voice, Vaughn. There you go.
Oh yeah, you do a lot of karaoke stuff, don't you?
Yeah, I do, and I was thinking about maybe doing another karaoke song. It's a Johnny Cash tune, but I'm gonna have to work on it. But it's that one song. Let's see if I can try to remember the words. You can run on for a long time, run on for a long time, run on for a long time. Tell 'em that God's gonna shut you down. Tell 'em that God's gonna shut you down. And so I need to work on it a little bit, but I'll probably see if I can't.
Makes it perfect, right?
Have your singing voice.
Yeah, I'll see if I can't get that down. That was the lovely wife. For those of you who are wondering, who is that female voice, just
Hey, I'm saying hi too because I didn't say
hi. Yeah.
I love your singing voice.
Yeah, she's saying she loves my singing voice. So, but yeah, the thing, it's really sad because I lost a lot of karaoke songs when I had to delete my.
All those? Are you serious? They even took the karaoke?
Oh yes. copyright. It's copyright. Everything is copyrighted now. Even karaoke.
That's stupid.
That is so stupid. I mean, a bunch of guys down in the basement making music could not possibly be copyrighted, but according to
Especially
YouTube,
when some of them are dead.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, really. Yeah, really. It's just totally ridiculous.
It is.
But yeah. So.
Well, hey, what's been the big thing you've seen this week? I mean, besides the solar flare, which we're still feeling. They said we'll go the next few days. Has anybody noticed a nice warming trend lately? I'm just saying for that.
I'm enjoying the warming trend, even though
after freezing. I'm here in Texas. We had frozen temperatures for a week straight below freezing. It did not reach above freezing, and it's 75 right now.
Right, exactly. Well,
wow.
we're having a heat wave here. It's 62 here, and we were in single digits and teens and maybe a few 20s there for a while.
63 for Monday.
And so we finally got some warm weather over here, so it worked out pretty good for us. But
they said it's supposed to be early spring.
Yeah,
so.
They're saying an early spring, but
it is going.
I don't know.
I'm still thinking there's going to be one more cold front that comes through. I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be 57 over here tomorrow, so.
Yeah.
But I ain't complaining. That's future weather.
No, I'm not going to complain about the weather. That's for sure.
No, nor should we. Weather's weather. We're only accepting that it's a major change because how long is our limit of understanding when it comes to weather records?
Yeah.
Earth is how old? We can't even go back even 500 years. We're talking less than 100. So how are we assuming that what's happened is consistent and normal?
Well, that's exactly right, and it's been windy, it's been balmy, it's been warm, and while I appreciate the warm weather, I am kind of concerned that it was such a sudden change, but.
I had someone on my Skype make a comment, and I want to say Christian River before, but I have to say this because this is a thought that I had a while back when I was trying to figure out the whole purpose of the chemtrails. Because so what they're doing it, I understand heavy metals, but trying to find the focus of why. And my first kind of research went to, I guess, the barium and things. And there's things like open air filters. So you have to have like a something that adheres, like a glue device kind of. And you can have certain chemicals that do that, and then you need like a strong metal that'll adhere to take it out, to do that kind of thing, the filtering of it. So there's that idea, and with all the solar radiation that's been increasing, that's an idea.
Right.
The other thing was, the other thought I had going through the research was when it comes to holographics, which is kind of funny with the disclosure idea, is that it has to have a medium to exist on, because holographics, you always see that smoke, right? Most people don't pay attention. But when you see the holographics, there's always kind of smoky, right? So there is a screen, but it's made from very small particles that are in the air that kind of form mist. And if you've ever paid attention to chemtrails, do you notice the light fracturing that happens, how you get the rainbow effect, when you take pictures or anything else? So it definitely has that prism, that kind of effect. And if they're going to do like a large kind of scale thing, say aliens come and attack, they're going to need a board to put it on if it is holographic in nature, which, by the way, and I know, Vaughn, you're probably aware, there are like at least 2 or 3 that I'm aware of holographic satellites in our atmosphere, by the way, people. In fact, one of them was presented in one of the major trade shows this last year. It was quite interesting. So, yes, they can do them on a large scale, and that is another alternative. But the other thing is, what I thought is, say that there is something coming close and you might be able to see it, say, at night, which there has been a lot of night spraying. What's the best way to cover other people's sight? Maybe false clouds? What if they're just going to hide what's coming?
False clouds, blue beam. I mean, there's all kinds of things to get us to look the other direction while they do something else,
Yeah, well, that's the one thing, because it's like one night I think we were supposed to have those meteor showers, or I think it was like November or something. It is the night that was like really strong and it was supposed to be really visible. There were clouds everywhere. Or there were the stories when they first saw those large, whatever, they still look like big board cubes. I don't care what they freaking do. And I don't mean to joke about the board, but that's just what it reminds me of.
Actually, that brings up a point that I actually wanted to mention earlier. it's kind of creepy, but think about this. All right, I don't know if you're familiar with Star Trek Enterprise.
Of course, I'm me personally. Yes,
okay, you're familiar. Okay, if you're familiar with Star Trek Enterprise, you'll remember the term Xindi. All right, you remember the Xindi? You remember that term?
Oh, yes.
All right, well now, what is so ironic is that the Xindi were multiple alien races.
And they were stretching themselves, trying to extend their life, everything. It was, yeah.
Well, the thing of it is that you had a reptilian Xindi, you had an insectoid Xindi, you had an aquatic Xindi, and so what do we have? We have reptilians, we have greys, we have insectoids, and now we have the aquatics showing up.
And what about the spears they were using, okay?
Yeah,
get into, like, Death Star-looking things that were used.
And ironically, we had all those spheres that were around the sun a while back. Remember those?
Yep.
And I'm sitting here kind of creeped out. It's like, wow.
They're debunking it early so it doesn't freak you out later.
Yeah,
that was on TV. That's fake. That's not real.
Yeah,
why is it there?
Well, the thing of it is, it's kind of creeping me out. It's like, man, am I living in the Star Trek Enterprise universe or something? But it kind of creeps me out when I sit here and I think about it. Because everything they talked about, as far as these alien races go, the Xindi, is actually, it's kind of coming to pass a little bit. And
and everybody talks about aliens, and I have to say this one more time. Because this is one thing, and I hate using the word alien, okay, because the Earth itself is really made to create life.
Right.
And everything that we're talking about exists here. So who's to say they didn't come from here first? It's not that they're not from here. That's just what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, and there's, it's entirely possible that some of them have been living under the ground for centuries. I mean, that's how the story goes, is that a lot of them got stranded here, and they've been living underground for centuries, and so they decided...
Hollow Earth, but hey...
Yeah,
and the opening of the nice little portals between the sun and the Earth that NASA...
Yeah, which NASA admitted to, ironically.
Right.
Wow, was that a jaw dropper?
And ever since then, we see these few little images that creep out now and then that kind of show the atmosphere going through this hollow. All of a sudden now those are kind of creeping out because you don't want someone to actually see those and think, hey, that's got to be faked. Yeah, instead of actually looking at them closely. There is ideas, and if we think it seriously, it comes in. We don't realize how powerful we are.
Yeah, but it was really fascinating when NASA themselves came out and said, "Oh yeah, by the way, there's portals between the Earth and the Sun." I'm like, what?
Portals that connect it all. I was like,
it's like what? That was really something else, man. That was.
And you see those pictures, right? They always talk about those images, and you feel like kind of skewed. It's like, it's just bad imaging, right? Those the crossbars. But if you keep changing them to the light spectrum, they're not crossbars.
No, and
it looks like that tether technology. Everybody's talking about those elevators and stuff.
Yeah.
That's almost what it reminds me of. It looks
a space elevator, right? A space elevator. Yeah.
Do you want to tell people what that is? Because I'm sure they have no idea.
Yeah, the concept behind the space elevator is that we would literally build an elevator from the Earth to the moon. And the only problem with that is that how would you allow it to rotate around the Earth, number one, and number two, if you did succeed in building such a device, what would keep it from snapping, and breaking? But but there was actually serious discussion about creating a space elevator from the Earth to the moon. That was actually seriously.
It was. They had the diagrams. It was in work to have. Okay, if anybody's ever seen, oh man, we'd have to go over the Space Force, okay. So let's say a long time ago, NASA had footage when they started, say, beam technology above the Earth, and they filmed not only entities here, and we're not saying they're all, say, technologically based. There's a good chance a lot of it is biological, but we don't want to accept anything like that. So, so they started this technology. They said they needed it to protect the Earth. Of course, nobody here, we're wondering why ketchup costs $5,000. Yeah, this is why. So they had beaming technology, literally laser technology in space, and all of a sudden objects start moving away, like so fast. Everything else, there's footage, quite a lot of it actually. Secret Space by, he's such a shill though, I hate giving his name. So I'm not going to. We'll move on. There are some really good footage out there. He's not the only person that has it, so that's why. I'm just saying, there's stuff out there that they've been trying to keep you from for a long time, and every time somebody sees something, say the stereo satellites or the Soho fleet, whatever, when something happens, it disappears. Look at even the earthquake monitors here, even in the U.S., if something big happens, say at Yellowstone, they disappear. So unless you're actually someone that's active, which a lot of people like Vaughn and others are, they pay attention to and record them 24 hours so that when there is a discrepancy or it disappears, somebody has the file.
Right. That's exactly right, because they have been, the USGS website has been systematically removing data concerning Yellowstone. Yellowstone was getting like 5s and 6s, and so the USGS, as soon as it showed up on their website, they took it down immediately.
Yeah, all we hear about is the Earth moved a little bit, right? 10 inches. 10 inches is a lot. I don't care what anybody says. Overnight, that's a ton of space to move.
Well, the thing of it is, if you look at it from a mathematical perspective, 10-inch movement is actually hundreds of thousands of miles.
Over that span of time, it very much is.
Yeah, relative to your position, okay? Because it forms a cone, see? And so the farther out you go away from you, the bigger the cone gets. So by the time you're out all the way to the end of the cone, the end of the cone represents hundreds of thousands of miles difference. You follow me?
Exactly.
Yeah, and so, so when they say, oh, well, it moved a little bit, it just moved 10 inches. Well, actually, that 10 inches, yes, to you it was 10 inches, but to somebody on the other side of the cone, it was hundreds of thousands of miles. So it's nothing to sneeze at. And
then we have to consider the fact there are changes happening. We're talking about like a serious alignment coming up in March. There's several coming up this year. That is the first of many. We really need to pay more attention to numbers. We all think, okay, astrology, has anybody ever been amazed how accurate some of it can be when it's pinpointed to the exact time? See, people confuse it because you always go by your sign, your 12-month zodiac. But yet there's 13 moon cycles per year, hence the moon. And we were getting to the Gregorian, or at least in the chat room, I had mentioned the Gregorian calendar, which the whole idea that Sabbath has to be on Saturday.
Right.
To determine what Saturday was. I'm just saying, because seriously, the Romans, like they said, Gregor decided the calendar, okay? And this was after they had fought many others. And there has been a lunar calendar before, which is one of the mainly more accurate ones. And if you want to throw that in, then we got that extra sign, I can never say that, OPH, whatever, the spider.
Yeah, the new horoscope sign or whatever.
Yeah, and has anybody ever noticed Bohemian Grove's weaving spiders need not enter here? And you want to know why? Does anybody want to know why? We think about the web, okay? This network that we're all locked into. We keep talking about the matrix, right? The matrix is the web. And why they fear the spider is because the spider makes it. And that's what we all have the ability to do. They don't want you to know that. That's why they say weaving spiders need not enter. They don't want you. If you have the ability to control your own world, they do not want you unless you work for them.
There you go. That's it, man. That's it. But yeah, it's really something else. I'll tell you. People are sitting.
Hey, someone just said World Wide Web. I like that.
Yeah, World Wide Web. There you go. There you go.
And you think these words are put there by accident? Yeah, coincidence. Coincide, coincidence. Come on, look at the words carefully. English is meant to confuse.
Television programming, that should be.
Yeah, I love that. That's my favorite.
Television programming, but we're not programming you, folks. We're going to call it television programming. That should be your first clue. Hey, wait a minute, they're programming you.
Has anybody ever looked at the design of, say, the network inside of a computer, your motherboard? You know where they got that idea? Your brain. Hello. So what are they trying to do? They're programming a computer, because everything that exists here that's synthetic came from the biological. Our ideas. Now, we have a great talent. Look at all this technology we've dug out of the deserts and deep under the earth that was more advanced than anything we'd ever come about. And we reverse engineered something that had a power source and everything else that we didn't understand, and yet we still accomplished it.
Speaking of that, there is a rumor going around, and I don't know how true it is. I haven't been able to confirm it, but there is a rumor going around that we have found a Vimana. We have found a Vimana in the ground. A Vimana is a
the Indian term of spaceship.
Indians from India. Let me clarify that.
Yeah, India. Yeah, they're not Native American. We're talking.
We're talking the country India, right?
And when I say spacecraft, I mean something that can travel beyond our atmosphere.
Correct.
Or at least, from continent to continent, at amazing speeds. And
and supposedly, so the story goes, is that they've been slowly but surely ferreting people of government, people from various governments around the world. They've been slowly taking them and showing them this Vimana that's buried into the ground, and it's like, wow, that's pretty high.
I have some stories that shows that in Egypt, and we're going to go back to the Jews and all this, okay, real quick. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? The Egyptians actually had this area, and it was not too far from Cairo or whatever, the three main pyramids. They dug up something. And all of a sudden, here comes Israel. And they said, hey, we'll help you, right? And they came in and they stole what they came about. They took it from there. And what was said was found. We can get into so much. The pyramids were made, look on the inside, there is no hieroglyphics, okay? If you're talking a usable substance or something, say, an energy source, and we only conceive energy as electricity or whatever to power things, and energy does not necessarily stop just at powering equipment, okay? So the pyramids themselves on the inside are not only geometrically made for certain sound, but energy that pulls from the earth itself. And this is something that, with the Vimana that's been found, came about from the nice little pathways and underground tunnels that connect every part of the earth. Now, over time, some of them have collapsed, and not everything is completely travelable, we should say, but they are still there. That is a big issue that no one has wanted to talk about. This brought about the discoveries of the Chinese pyramids that nobody looked at, which has, again, brought to light, which was found long ago, the American pyramids. You want to tell people about American pyramids? Because they hear that, like, what are you talking about? There's no way. I haven't seen any pyramids here.
Well, I to be honest with you, I don't know that much about them.
Well, then that's cool. I can tell you some. There's actually some in Illinois, for one. They're set pyramids. They have the flat top. There's many. We've confused them as mountains and other things until the satellites in space actually did the nice ground testing. Everything that's helped map the Earth in a very precise manner, which still does not compare to the ones from the past. Just had to add that in real quick. They still haven't gotten the accuracy of them yet. So but we're unique, and we're the most talented thing that's ever been here. Yeah. Okay. And I'm not saying that aliens are the case, and I'm not saying Christianity is. I'm not saying anybody's right, because all I gotta say is if anybody comes and messes with me, they're in trouble, because I'm more dangerous than anything they're gonna throw at me. So people should really seriously take that into consideration and take that for yourselves too, because if you truly believe that, then they have no. And it totally boggled my mind when I found out there were pyramids in the United States also. I was like, what? Really? I mean, I knew about the Snake Mound in Ohio. I knew about that. Okay, I got to show you some more. I've got pictures of it, in fact, on my computer. I'm going to send it to you on Skype, Vaughn. But I've got images of some things that they dug up in California. Okay, we're talking pre-flood technology. It was embedded in bedrock and shells from when this land was covered prior to the last ice age.
Right.
And it looked exactly like a spark plug, by the way. It had like a tubing. It had. Do you know Jonathan Gray? Have you ever read Dead Men's Secrets? I mean, I know you're familiar with in archaeology, all this. I gotta send you. I have all this. I have all of it. So I'll send it all to you. Not a problem. Images, everything. But they found, like, we're talking more than 2,500 years ago. They had spark plugs. They dug up jet engines here in the U.S., by the way. And if anybody's noticed in Arkansas and Louisiana, why are they trying to get everybody out of the Gulf Coast? And in fact, my friend and I we were talking about this earlier today. In the Old Testament and a lot of other things in the New Testament, they keep talking in Revelation that the devil, whatever, is going to be coming from what areas responded as the Gulf Coast, right out of the coast of Louisiana. Now, if you go back to Sumerian texts, the first man that landed here when he escaped anew due to taking over the government, and I know not everybody's going to understand, but this is just background real fast. So when he came here and he managed to get through the asteroid belt and he landed on Earth, he landed in what was known as swamps. Sorry, the description, everything else matches exactly this area. Now, in my opinion, because of what happened after the rock slide in Arkansas that revealed rebar and concrete under a mountain that we thought was natural, predates flood. We're talking 10, 15, 20,000 years ago minimum, okay, minimum, because radio dating also means the last time it surfaced in air, which means that was the last time that it saw air before eroding. Okay?
Got exposed to oxygen, right?
Thank you. Exactly. That's another key. So that means that it existed before then, and they had a large dam system that literally took up Arkansas, Louisiana, and up to Florida. And to me, it looks more like a dry dock. When you drop ships and stuff, you have a big circular ship. That's what I see happening in the Gulf. Just saying that now. I know, this is all conjecture. This is my opinion. This is just for me reading a lot because I like reading. And I don't take anybody's opinion. I just keep finding what works for me. And to me, this holds true. I haven't found anything that can go against it. Which in itself, just take it for what it is. Look it up yourself. Okay? And if anybody wants this Dead Men's Secret, I will give it to you. Just hit up Nicole, Nicole, at freedomizerradio.com. And again, that's 2 R's in the middle, one to be in a freedomizer, one for the beginning of radio. And I will give it to you. I have a ton of information I would love people to have and read. More people should read. But so we'll say that there was a dam system. They said it kept in the Arkansas River and most likely the Mississippi. And they formed to me it looks like a dry dock, but that's just my opinion because no one I have read stated that. That's just what it looks like. And they found out that with ice ages, of course, it absorbs all the water from the oceans, right, and it all freezes. So we get more land. And now they're finding all these sunken cities, right outside of the Yucatan Peninsula and the Bermuda Triangle. You've seen them, right? All these nice little scuba diving images that show these huge objects that look exactly like everything else from that time. It's beautiful. It's awesome. I love it. I really do. And I hope so much more comes out. I really do. The more information, the better. And never take anything that anybody says. Like I said, information is a positive thing. This is what the elite value as their commodity. They don't value money. Money is not their goal. They want knowledge. They have money. Money means nothing to them. They use that to control us.
Yeah, power and control. That's what they're all about.
Status and money. We like knowledge. That's mankind. We take care of each other.
Right. Absolutely. Well, now, this is the first I had heard about the spark plug, but now I have heard of the Baghdad battery, and I've heard of the Egyptian light bulb. I don't know if you're familiar with those.
Oh, yeah, very much so. They tried to say it was a lotus or an eggplant, right?
Yeah, a lotus or an eggplant or something like that. No, it's a light bulb, folks. It's got wires coming off. It's got wires coming off of it that go to a square box. There's your battery. And so, yeah, it's not a lotus doesn't have wires coming off of it going to a black box, okay?
Neither does an eggplant, sorry.
Yeah, or an eggplant. So,
they chose eggplant because of the shape, because it is elongated and looks nothing like a lotus.
But, yeah, it's like... Well, see, the thing of it is, everybody was saying, well, you know, how in the world did they get light down there to work by? Because there's no way. I mean, they couldn't obtain it.
And there's no scorch marks on the top of the ceiling.
Yeah, there's no scorch marks. There's nothing to, and even if you did take a torch down there, there wouldn't have been enough oxygen to keep it going. It would have went out. So, you know, they tried it. They tried with several mirrors to get light down there from the sun. That didn't work.
That whole idea that you see in Stargate.
Yeah, it didn't work.
It didn't work.
Because the light kept getting diffused and diffused and diffused and diffused, and by the time it got down...
After about 4 corners, 5 corners, you're gone.
Yeah, after about 4 or 5 corners, it was done. Yeah, pretty much. And so they had to have a way to get light down there, and then we come across this hieroglyph on the inside wall, and wow, it was a light bulb. And then we found the Baghdad battery to go along with it, and so now we've got a light bulb and a battery, so now we can actually turn our light bulb on. So... You know,
and if you look at the stories, it was said in itself that the pyramids were lit up at night. There are many stories that say, and the wording, you just got to pay attention. When you hear about glowing lights and things, that's usually because it's the light bulb, and people that don't have that technology say the gods are those, the powers that be, the blue bloods, those in control have, then they're taking their own experience and knowledge to explain what they see. And unless you're in the know, you don't know what to call it.
Right. Exactly right. Exactly right. Well, I was very well known on YouTube for a series of videos I did called Underwater Pyramids. And what I done was I researched all the underwater pyramids and all of the divers and researchers that were investigating the underwater pyramids. And there was this one instance that I read about where they went and they got close to this pyramid, and when they got close to the pyramid, the top of the pyramid lit up, and a door opened. And at first, it scared them. They all ran. They lost it, and they got out of there. But finally, they decided to get up their courage, and they went back to the pyramid. And they got up close to it, and then when they got up close to it, the top of the pyramid lit up, the door opened, and the guy says, "To heck with it, I'm going in there anyway." And so he went in there. Now, most of the pyramid was full of water, but he was able to swim up and get to where that some of it was dry. And inside the dry portion was this shaft that went all the way up to the top of the pyramid, and in the midst of going up to the top of the pyramid, there was also a crystal ball inside there. And so they took that and...
talk about dreams? Okay.
And so it was really... No, this was not a dream. This was...
No, I know. You say that. I've had dreams. I've seen these. I've actually seen, like, some of the different... It doesn't matter. Keep going. Thanks, cool. Because, no, it's just synchronicity. Synchronicity has been beautiful this last week, so keep going.
And so so he found this rod, and he tried to work the rod free, but it would not work free. But there was a crystal ball on a pedestal, and it was sitting in a marble hand, and he was able to take this crystal ball. And when they investigated the crystal ball, they found that it had intense magnetic properties. And I suspect that's probably how the pyramid lit up was because of, just like Indiana Jones. Exactly right, Joe. It was just like Indiana Jones. Very, very fascinating read. And there was even a video where he actually showed the crystal ball, and he would take something made out of metal and put it close to the crystal ball, and the metal would actually bend towards the crystal ball. It was awesome, man. It was wild stuff. It was wild stuff, and it's all true. That's the cool thing about it. It's all true. It's all verified.
You want to talk about crystal skulls? Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, the crystal gold, the crystal skull.
Most people don't think they're real. The thing is that there's no laser marks, there's no anything, and the ones that have been proven true so far, 4 have come together. Hey, Vaughn, I'm actually going to bring in now James Gizday, our great 11-year monk, is with us. He was a monk for 11 years. So, hey, you're with the Punisher, Ron Helton. Hey, James.
Hey, everybody. Great show, man. Hey. You guys are really smashing it up today. I'm really enjoying everything.
Mm-hmm. How's it going, man?
Hey, doing pretty good. Is this the Punisher?
Yes, indeed.
Awesome, dude. Great. Yeah, it's good to be here.
What's on your mind, buddy?
Well, I was just saying the one thing about like secret societies and seeing things. He went into the monastery when 26? James?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. My girlfriend.
You went in at 26, right?
Yeah, I went in at 26 and came out at
11 years in. So everybody else who's had like the gradual like involvement of the New World Order control, he went in at 26, came out, and saw so much.
Yeah, it was a really eye-opening experience in a lot of ways. I mean, so many things to talk about in regard to that. But can we come back, just digress a little bit here? We were talking about pyramids a little while back. And how, what is the general consensus, if there is among you here, about where they came from?
Yeah, well, my personal opinion, I do not think a bunch of slaves built the pyramids. Sorry. I'm just not buying it.
That's hard to stomach, isn't it? Because, I mean, you think about all the effort, the weight, the ability to design that. I mean, you have to think there's something, I don't know, aliens or...
Yeah, I'm just not buying that one. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that want to disagree, and that's fine. But I'm just not buying that one. Sorry, guys.
No, why can't we believe we did it? Hey, guys, hang in there. I'm gonna bring in another caller. This is probably from the Washington area code 360. So you're with us.
Oh wow! I didn't think I'd actually get on.
Oh, well, you're here. You've got you're the Punisher, Nickie is here with you, and you've actually got James Gazet, monk for 11 years. So hey, you got quite company with you.
All right, that's good. What I wanted to talk to you guys about, actually, you guys know Smokin' Joe Trainer, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Did you watch his video, the new one about the New World Order and, what was it called? It was called, We Want Your Soul. Did you guys watch that?
No, I haven't seen his latest one, no.
That would be a video, like, if I was talking to someone who wasn't awake, that would be the video I'd want to show them. I just want to know, like, what is the New World Order's, like, plan? Like, how is this all supposed to play out? That's what I want to know.
The New World Order's plan is to kill you and your family and your friends. I mean,
they'll
basically...
show you things like the Zeke guys and the Venus Project to show you what they're going to have after you're gone.
Right. Yeah, they're gonna have their little. They want a little utopian world, and they want to keep those of us they call the useless eaters. Catchy name, isn't it? But that's what they call us, the useless eaters, and they want to keep our number down to about 500 million, and that way they've got just enough people to be their personal little slaves. You will have no freedom. You will have no rights. You will have nothing. You will be their personal slaves for all eternity. And that's what they want. And they will have their little utopian world where they live like kings and gods. And in fact, you might even have to bow down to them. I don't know yet, but there's that possibility too. But yeah, they want a utopian world where they are gods or at least kings. And we the little people will have to serve them day and night, much like the servants had to serve the ancient Egyptian pharaohs. And that's what they want. That in their mind is their utopian world, and that's what they want.
Hence why I always fight those in power, because we have that ability. We don't need to be controlled. Fuck the government. Just gotta say that. We have our own ability. Sorry. Trust yourself. Walk away from having a mom and dad tell you what to do all the time.
Well, I know that Ted Turner, the owner of CNN network, he's been on record saying that he thinks that the world population should be reduced by 2/3 or something like that. So, so these people are. Yeah, I definitely agree with how you stated that about the New World Order.
Well, I just don't see how long are they, like, when do they want to put their utopian rule into effect?
It was already supposed to have been done, I promise you. They haven't been able to accomplish what they've been trying because we're not like them. So we're not responding the way they expect. Just saying. Because like the old statement, life finds a way, so do we, because we're part of life. So they don't understand that because they're not. Just saying. They promote death and destruction, and we don't. So we don't
do they understand that
don't
people know what's going on? Like, do they even care that?
No, they don't care. They'll show you what they're doing because you can't have an effect. They honestly believe that.
Yeah, they don't care. They firmly believe that they cannot be defeated or stopped.
Yep.
And so they firmly believe that, and they will carry on with what they want. And so the only thing we can do is to oppose them and to try to stop them. That's about the only thing we can do. That's how. Because trust me, their idea of a utopia is something that you do not want. Because at minimum, you would be looking at permanent indentured servitude for the rest of your natural life.
Unless you're already in the know. So.
Yeah, unless you're already in the know. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and then this is the plan that stemmed back. This is why there's all those secret societies and all that stuff, right?
Since we began.
That's the way. That's their way of concealing the plan.
That's their way of keeping control of you. It's not about concealing the plan. That was a secondary nature. They just want your control. They want you to go away. Either serve them or go away.
Yeah, that's right.
It's scary to see everything that's happening.
Don't let it be scary. Realize that you have more power than they do. Seriously, because you do. Because you see it. And that's what they don't want. Trust me. The powers that be want to be told about them because that spreads information, and they don't want to be seen. They're trying to hide this whole hidden society because that's what they're trying to do. The best we can do is expose them because that's what they don't want. So do what they don't want, like anything else. You're told what not to do as a kid, what do? You do that. That's what we should do.
And the more of us that wake up and are alert and, really truly be free-thinking human beings and, do the things that we know to do, which is to love others and to be, peaceful and to go be productive and to be independent, the more their matrix system falls apart and the harder they have to work. And the faster they try to clamp down every time more and more people wake up. So, I think it's all up in the air. I don't know if their plan's actually going to work.
That's beautiful, isn't it? Nobody knows. They don't know. Anything they've done has backfired on them. Look what happened in Egypt. They tried their best to put their little hands in and start something, but it backfired way too soon for them, and all of a sudden they don't know what to do. Hence what's happened in the U.S., because they're stepping back thinking, hey, these people aren't quite responding. They're looking. They're paying attention. We don't know what to do because they're not responding. Because what we're doing is waiting to see. We're curious because if it works there, that means that we can do it too. We have an example to lead by. And that's what most of the population needs. And that's kind of sad in itself because we should be able to step up and realize we have these powers, and that's what I keep saying. And so what? Okay, if most of the majority is sheep and all they need is a good example to follow, fine. That's what's happening now, and that's what they didn't want. I love it. I think it's beautiful. It needs to keep going forward.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I appreciate you guys taking my call.
Yeah, man, you're great. I appreciate you calling us, for real.
I'm looking forward to Carney Art's blog talk episode tonight. That's what I'm waiting for, to be honest with you guys. You guys know that he's supposed to have one?
No, actually, I didn't know that, but I can't tune in. Yeah, sure.
All right, but I guess I'll let you guys get back to your discussion without me. I got some stuff to do. I just wanted to tune in for a little bit.
Well, thanks for the call, man.
Yep. All right, talk to you guys later, I guess.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, James, you're still with us, right?
Yes, ma'am. I'm still here.
Cool. So, Vaughn, your opinion?
On what, dear?
Just everything. How about, where mankind's going?
I'm just glad to be here, man. I mean,
Right? See, that's a beautiful statement. I'm glad to be here. That's beautiful. I love that. That should be on everybody's forehead. I'm glad to be here.
I'm just glad to be here, man.
Yeah.
I'm just glad to be
now,
here.
we're talking because James, he's still very, very Christian, of course. Him and I get along great, which he knows very well. I'm very much not. I was, don't get me wrong, preached a sermon at 16. I studied just about every religion thrown in my face. I was recruited by military, by OTO, which, to those that don't know, Order of the Golden Dawn, whatever, OTO, Order of Templia, it doesn't matter. I can never pronounce things correctly. It doesn't matter. Alex Jones, whatever. Everybody has an agenda. And you know what? When everybody has an agenda, give them the big middle finger and say, I'm going to do what I want to do. That's what makes us beautiful. Even if you believe completely in Christianity, free will, okay? That's what makes us better. Why did the angels, envy man? Because we had the ability to do, what they couldn't, and that's, affect our own lives. That makes you a creator of your own life, okay? And at the very core, that is something you should take dear. Whether you believe Christianity is true or not, or history or religion and faith, whatever, look at it and see that it's trying to show you the abilities you have. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, and you should look at the other religions too once you discover it, because they say the same thing too. And look at history, because if it corresponds and you have more than just one area and they aren't even connected, and all of a sudden all these truths or all these similarities start showing up, doesn't that say something more than just a mythology? What a word, mythology. Greek mythology, let's take that alone. Let's look at the Iliad. They found Troy, right? They found that golden cup that was described exactly where it was described in this old play. Talk about artistic talent, beautiful prose, everything else. Because that's what it is a play. So he used poetry to define this, which is beautiful, and more people need to. That shows creativity and human spirit.
Correct.
And they found this at the very top of what was supposed to be protected by, what did they say, dragons or something? And they found all these structures that it resembled exactly what was said, but they found the cup that was listed in what we consider mythology. We found remnants of the wooden horse in Troy. We found all of the stuff. Yeah, you still call it mythology?
Yeah, that's kind of funny. It really is. We found Sodom and Gomorrah. We found Troy. We found Jericho. We found a lot of these old mythical, quote-unquote, cities, and we've actually found them and documented them. And it's, it's like, well, when does it stop being a myth? I mean, how many cities do we have to find before it's...
Sodom and Gomorrah, we're almost at time. I got to say one more thing. Sodom and Gomorrah, nuclear war, hello. We found evidence everywhere else. They literally turned to ash like salt pillars, okay? Come on, look at examples we have now and try to explain them if you didn't understand technology in the terms we understand now. And you would find the exact things we find in our past. But hey, James, you want to say goodbye? And then I got to let Vaughn do his thing too. So you want to say goodbye, James?
Oh, yeah. Thank you all. I was spellbound. I was just listening to everything you're saying, and, this fascinating discussion, and thank you for having me on the show. I'm sorry I didn't really put much in, but I was looking at my watch.
You're never in position. We love you, James, so hey.
Yeah, I love you guys, too. I got to walk my neighbor's dog in a few minutes, so I have to get off the phone. But thanks, everybody.
Cool. Well, hey, Vaughn, you want to do your thing, too?
Yeah. I'm just proud to be here, man. I'm just proud to be here. But yeah, thanks for calling in, and thanks everybody for listening. I hope you all learned something tonight. That's the whole point of it. That's why we do what we do, so that you guys will learn something and that you'll grow. We all need to grow in knowledge. Knowledge is the key, man. You got knowledge, you got everything you need right there.
Knowledge, I love that word. Well, I just put in your link to your channel.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
So anybody in the chat room can find that. If you want to tell anybody else, you want to tell them how to find you on YouTube in case they're just listening?
Well, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on MySpace. On Twitter, I'm Baron von Helton, though, not just von Helton. So somebody already had von Helton. He does
have family, by the way. So hey.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm on most of the services out there: Facebook, Twitter, MySpace. Just go hunting for me, and I'm out there, man. I'm here, there, and everywhere. So there you go.
Cool. Well, it's been fun. I hope we do it again soon.
Oh yeah, sure.
For those listening, yeah, there's my 92nd mark. I've got Bruce Kettler coming in tomorrow. World Peace Alliance. 70-year-old who was completely off the grid up in Colorado and is trying to get people to realize that I know him and James have talked before about prayer and realizing our power across the globe. Beautiful time and a beautiful day for it. So everybody hang in there at the same time, 2 p.m., start 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. my time. New normal West Coast, and everybody else you got to figure out, because I don't know that thing. So, hey, it's giving more information. So, Punisher, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem, man. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we got so much more coming up, and y'all hang in there, because, man, it's going to be exciting over the next few weeks, for real. I'm going to play...
Hi, Boo Bear.
Yeah, right. There you go. I think I'm going to play Payday Monsanto one more time. Everybody hang in there. This is Autonomy, which is, the reverse of Illuminati, however you want to say it, because I don't know how it's said. But here you go, everybody. Joanne Reddy and the Liberty Underground coming up next. Nickie Nick's Rise Above Dehumanization. Guys, hang in there.
They are going to release a bioweapon that is going to kill almost everybody. Now I'm going to explain something to you. This is guaranteed.